All right, we are live. Okay, hello everybody. This is Brian, and I'm trying something a little new for today. I have never actually done a live stream from my YouTube channel before. No, never, no, never, not once. All I've done is I've been a guest, I guess you could say, on the Animation Epic live streams and whatnot. But on my own channel, no, never a live stream before. So what? So why today? You may ask. Why did I suddenly decide? You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and give you all a live stream. Well, you may or may not know there was a little indie film that came out called Disney's Marvel's Avengers Endgame, and it's a pretty big deal because it's the culmination of the 22 film saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and everyone's talking about it. And it's arguably extremely redundant for me to be talking about it, but I'm gonna do it anyway for posterity because it's such a big deal and it's tracking over like $300 million for the domestic opening weekend alone. People were like, is it even going to be able to get that high? Because like usually like all the movies at once in a weekend maybe like won't even get to be like 300 million. This is already like it's definitely going to be over 300 million domestically. People think it might be like a billion worldwide just for the opening weekend, just already a billion, which is unheard of. So like this is a huge cinematic event, and I want to talk about it. Because I was there. I witnessed it, and yeah, it's just a big deal. So even if it's just for posterity, just so I like I've preserved my personal reaction to it, and potentially also the reactions of some of my other friends that you may know. There's Justin Chapman, who will be joining us momentarily, who also saw the movie. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. And maybe some other guests later. I won't say in case they don't show up. But I'll just check to make sure that everything is currently live stream. Yes, it looks like it is. Okay, let me make sure that that is muted. All right, great. Carolina Lucas Paiva, if I'm saying that name correctly, hello to you as well. Yes, so Avengers Endgame. So I guess the way I'll just start is I'll kind of give where I come at the Marvel Cinematic Universe from, just personally. I remember because Iron Man came out in 2008. Well, still, I was young, not like super young, but you know, I was young. And like I didn't see it in theaters. I caught it on DVD. I got the DVD from the library. I was watching it. It didn't really grab me at that point. I would later come to watch it again and really appreciate it. But at that point, I was just sort of like, okay, all right, I see what they're doing. I still don't really know, like, who's this Iron Man guy? I mean, like, what? They got Spider-Man movies coming out. Like, why should I care about an Iron Man? Like, I remember Nick Magazine was like making like posters like Ironing Man. It was like, yeah, that's what that's like. It's silly. Who's this guy? Never even heard of him. So you know, because I wasn't really a comic book reader, so to speak. I was the more the film TV guy, whatever. So keep fast forward. I didn't see the Incredible Hulk. I didn't see what is it what's after that, Iron Man 2. I didn't see, or Thor the first one, or Captain America the First Avenger. I wasn't really seeing these movies. And then the Avengers was going to be coming out, and I wasn't necessarily planning on seeing that either. I didn't really even know what was going on. History was unfolding before me, and I was just like I was blissfully unaware. But then my good old friend Justin Miller decided to take me and my other really good friend Adam Katz to the movies for, I think it was his third time seeing the Avengers. And I was like, all right, okay, I'll go. I'm not sure what I'm really gonna. I don't know what I'll really think of this, but people seem to be talking about it, and the movie theater's been getting real crowded, and like everyone's still really into it, and it had been out like for like a little bit at this point. So I was like, okay. We had seen Men in Black 3, which also featured Josh Brolin at the time, which that's pretty funny. Going full circle, it's also funny how way back when I was like, oh, Spider-Man compared to Iron Man, like Iron Man's not so big a deal, and now like Spider-Man's like a supporting character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe currently, and it totally works. But yeah, I saw the Avengers, and I was like, wow, okay, all right, I see the appeal here, and how they were able to bring everything together, even me without like the proper foundation at that point, and I would later, of course, go back and watch everything that had come before. I really appreciated, just how well they built up to the Battle of New York and Hulk coming out and like all this grace and Tony's big sacrifice and having Swarma together, all that wonderful, glorious stuff. I really enjoyed that. So since then, I have seen all of the Marvel movies in theaters in their theatrical runs. I've been there for them, and now we have finally gotten through from Joss Whedon to James Gunn to now the Russo brothers. We're here. We're at Avengers Endgame, and I'm gonna be spoiling it in this discussion. It's a spoiler discussion in case you missed the title. As spoilers. I really don't want you to get spoiled if you didn't see the movie. So if you didn't see it, please don't keep listening to me. Look at the title or listen to the words I'm saying now. Don't watch, don't listen. I'm gonna spoil it. I promise I will. Howard the Duck beats Thanos. That was your last chance. Okay. So, the movie itself, that in and of itself is... oh, I see there's also some more comments. Hello, Rick Tunes. Hello, Daisy Fluff Inc. Hello, KS Wallace again. I didn't even know what was going on. Literally my little sister when we were binging the whole series. Well, that's funny too, because I also, I had my parents had seen like a smattering of Marvel movies over the years. They mainly they really love we all really love Black Panther in this house. So that's the one they knew. So I was like, all right, well, some of these other ones you definitely have seen, but I feel like you don't really remember. So we watched through a good amount of the Marvel movies leading up to Avengers Endgame. So I was like, all right, that's what we're gonna do. If that reflection is bothering you guys, I'll maybe move it over a little bit there. No one's mentioned it, but I just noticed it. It was like, oh, I don't really. No one's gonna be popping up in that computer old school monitor a la Winter Soldier. There's no there's no long thought to be dead Toby Jones gonna come through and project themselves through it. Sorry to disappoint. Yeah, so they were also pretty confused, but amazingly they were going into Endgame I don't think I'm gonna know what's going on, Brian. I really don't. You tried, but I don't know. But surprisingly, they were completely able to follow it. I'm used to them being able to have to be all right, well, no, so this who's on screen is Scarlet Witch, but they got it. So I was like, okay, that's good. My dad he asked me was that easier to follow than some of these other Marvel movies or what? I was like, no, I think I just trained your brain. That Marvel trained everyone's brains so that they could build up to this crazy, really intricate event, because it is pretty intricate how they handle everything in this movie. So I don't know. I give him a lot of I give him props. I give him credit for being able to slowly build so that this crazy behemoth of a film, this time heist, if you will, is accessible. So just seeing the movie is an adventure in and of itself, because I've seen it twice by now, but my first time seeing it was I went Thursday night and Friday night. So Thursday night I had 6:30 tickets. I had for Thursday and Friday I had gotten IMAX tickets right off the bat. They were tough to get. It was the first time I had seen it on Fandango when it's just you're waiting in a queue for an hour or and it keeps going up the wait time just to reserve the seats. But I was like, all right, I got these tickets because I wanted to go into the city. I live on Long Island, so I wanted to go into the city and see it in this nice crowd at AMC Kips Bay. A little plug right there. Then can I hear you? Can you speak? I can't. Are you muted? Do I have to unmute you? You're muted. I could tell you're muted. I don't know if that's intentional on your part or not. I'm going to assume that it is for now. Or maybe not. I don't know. While I start to struggle to hear you, I'll study the design on your shirt and try to see if it is indeed Marvel related or not. Because I'm not sure if it is. You're on mute, Justin. I can't hear you. Oh, hello?
Okay. How are we doing?
I still can't hear you. I don't know why.
Cool.
Oh, I think I might know. Give me a second. There we go. I had my output as my microphone as well. I think that's why. I think that's my
Interesting.
yeah. I didn't do that. It just did it automatically. But hello, Justin.
Can you still hear me?
What is that? So what is that on your shirt? Can you explain?
Oh, we got a heckin'
Oh,
shirt, which is a total coincidence. I didn't wear it to the theater yesterday because I forgot, but I wanted to.
I did not wear this Marvel T-shirt to the theater either because it was raining / cold / other things that would keep me from wearing.
Heck yeah.
It. You know what I want? I want one of those like Quantum Realm hoodies that I've been going around. Those look so cool.
What does that look like?
It's like it's the suit that they wear, but like transformed into a hoodie, you know. So like I saw someone on the way out, they were wearing it, and it was pretty cool.
So you could travel through time, but like in comfort.
Exactly, because that's the way to do it, right? But yeah, so I was just about to explain my experience in seeing the movie because that was an adventure in and of itself.
I wish mine was. I have to. Okay, so what's happening is I have to do like a stand-up comedy routine for my class this upcoming week, and I was hoping something fun would happen involving the Endgame because I thought of like a lead-in if something were to happen, but. I could make up a story in theory, but it was a pretty cash day.
Always lie. You just gotta lie or steal mine.
Who?
Well, it's kind of a story. It was a story for me. So because I was just saying I wanted to go into the city to see it because it's such a great crowd reaction at Kips Bay. I had seen Captain America: Civil War there and Avengers: Infinity War there and every war that you can imagine I saw at Kips Bay. So I was like, and the crowd is always they're so into it. It's great. So I was like, I gotta go, and also those were tickets I was able to get because they put up their IMAX screening tickets like later than like the big huge one. So I was like, okay, but like I finished work at 5, the screening was at 6:30, so I got on the train and like literally like I get to Penn Station with my dad, and we have to like run to get it should be like a 15 to 20 minute walk just to get to this theater. We get there, it's like 6:22 and it starts at 6:30. Obviously, but it's like okay, there's previews. We'll be fine.
Assigned seating.
What assigned seating? Yes,
okay.
Yeah, of course.
That's close.
I'm not an idiot. There's no way I'd get it.
I've definitely goofed up on lack of assigned seating in the past.
How dare! There's no room left for me. I got here 15 minutes after it started, but no. So
the movie's not over yet. Yeah,
seriously though, I felt like I was running alongside Captain America himself as I'm getting to the theater. But I make it. I'm thinking like, all right, like because previews probably gonna be like 15-20 minutes or so. I get in there, like, you know, I show my it was weird because usually they do it upstairs, but they asked for it before, so it's kind of caught off guard. Get in the seats. I get in. I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm ready. There's previews going. I'm all good, right? And then during the previews, it goes, please put on your 3D glasses now. And I'm like, it's 3D. I forgot because tomorrow I'm seeing it in IMAX and it's not a 3D showing, so I forgot that it was a 3D showing. And I'm like, oh, because I'm in the center of this row and it's hard enough to like have like gotten through because it's like really tight. So I'm like, I'm so sorry. I just have to go and like go like, all right, let me just inch my way through and then get my.
You ruined the movie for everyone.
That's what I'm horrified about because I'm like, if I get back here and the movie started, like I'm just gonna stand over there for 3 hours because I don't want to walk in front of anybody. So I'm just like, all right, I gotta go get my glasses. So I run through and I'm like, oh, like they're IMAX 3D glasses, but like I'm not seeing like any like I'm just looking for like the receptacle. You know, on your way out when like, they have the receptacle of like put your 3D glasses here and when you're done with them. I'm just looking for one of those because like I just need like as like quick as possible. So I go and I find like
gross. You don't know where there's been like faces. Some people don't have the best faces.
At this point, I don't care. Like I'll get like the flu, malaria, smallpox. I don't know. I'll get whatever.
There's no way that they actually wash those anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
they're just gonna end up just rewrap. Maybe like little spray, and it's like okay, well, close enough.
Just get your shirt and just like there. It's fine, right? But I find one of the real 3D glasses. I'm like, I feel like these aren't gonna work. I feel like the IMAX 3D glasses are like different technology or whatever. But like since it's like pretty close, let me just run back and like stand and like see. So like the Lion King remake trailer is playing, and I'm going up and I'm trying to see like. is this 3D or is it blurry? Well, like there, you know, the Lion King trailer, they have that 20-second part where they're just showing all the names. So I'm like, I don't know if this is 3D or not. So I have to wait for that. And thankfully, Timon and Pumbaa come up with their Owima Wep. And I'm like, okay, yeah, nope, this doesn't work. So I'm like, all right, let me see. And like on this level, I find like the first movie theater employee I can get. And I'm like, I need IMAX 3D glasses. Like, do you have any? And then like, even though they have like the uniform on, they tell me like they don't work there or something. They start explaining it. I'm like, what? But you have like you have the AMC. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, but this is a prank.
This is a prank.
Really, you just walked into like someone else's sitcom where something wacky's going on.
It did make it. I'm like, what do you mean? Why can't you help us? All right, I run. There's escalators, but there's also. I'm like, I'm just gonna run down the stairs. Run down the stairs. The people see me coming down. They're like, oh, like I think they expect like what's about to happen because they start reaching for the 3D glasses to give me one, but they're gonna give me the real 3D glasses again. So I'm like, no. First, you didn't give me the glasses at all. Then you're gonna give me the wrong one. I'm like, I need IMAX 3D glasses, and they're like, oh, okay, here you go. Thanks. Run back up. Get into the theater. I sit down like literally like 10 seconds before the movie starts. And like literally for the first like probably 5 minutes, I'm just trying to not be like, because I am just panting out of breath at this point.
That would be appropriate if it was Star Wars, because that's how that starts. But...
That's how all the Star Wars trailers, of course, start. Yeah, you have to have some nice deep breathing over a nice black background. But yeah, so you didn't have any misadventures when
no, I wish I did for just the setup. I mean, most of it was just like the fear of like getting spoiled, because it's like, okay, people are walking out of the theater while we're walking into the theater, and I'm like, oh, maybe I could put some earbuds on, I could keep it safe. It's like, it really wasn't necessary.
On my way out, when I saw people starting to go in, there were definitely people who were like, had the earbuds on. Literally on the way out, there was someone like there were several employees there that were like, "Thank you for coming. Like, put your glasses here. Like, and please, like, keep the spoilers to a minimum, please." Like, I never heard a movie theater employee be like, "Now, don't say any details about the plot as you walk out." So I thought that was really cool.
I expected that. I didn't get that. We just hit the very end of the movie. And after everyone was like, what? Immediately the people working there were like, please be sure to clean up your mess. And I expected someone to say something about a spoiler thing, because that seems to be like the go how.
Yeah.
But nah, unfortunately. Did you go in with any spoilers?
No. Okay. So I'll tell you what I knew. I knew that because there were like plenty of reviews that just like dropped like right away. Like as soon as the embargo lifted, I was like, there's some movies that I do, like with Toy Story 4, I'll try to like avoid like any reviews or anything before I go into it. But with this, I was like, I'm just dying to like just know like a little bit, and I feel like I'll
it's tough, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and like right away they start going in the reviews like, it's kind of like Back to the Future, and we won't say why. It's like, well, I wonder why.
Thanks, Grace.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Grace Randolph. Shout out to Grace. We love Grace Randolph. But she did do that in her non-spoiler review, completely shamelessly.
I did. Well, I waited to watch her review till after.
Okay. All right. I didn't. I was like, all right, sure. I mean, like, I had already gathered that from a few reviews beforehand.
As a big Back to the Future fan,
yeah,
it was exciting.
Oh gosh. So I kind of had a feeling about that. What else? I feel like I knew a few other things. I had heard like some things like casting. I knew that there were like rumors that they were like shooting like stuff that was like similar to the Battle of New York again. I had heard something about Tilda Swinton doing like a scene or two. I had heard who's the Ancient One, if anyone doesn't know, from Doctor Strange. I had heard like I had a feeling that Ken Jeong was going to be the Community cameo because I had seen some sort of report about that.
Oh, right.
I was thrilled with. I gotta just say, because I love that the Russo brothers do their Community cameos. They had like Danny Pudi Abed in
they missed Infinity War though, and then they made up for it.
Exactly. They had Danny Pudi Abed in Captain America: Winter Soldier. They had Dean Pelton, Jim Rash, who was the dean of MIT in Civil War, which was amazing. There wasn't any in Infinity War, and I was like, okay, I guess it's because it's like one big movie. But Not only did they have security guard Chang from season 3 of Community show up in the story, Yvette Nicole Brown is Shirley getting like several lines too. I was so happy. I clap when I see them. I'm so excited.
Hippie beard, oh dear.
It's like a superhero coming on screen. I'm really happy about it. But yeah,
they just had no fashion sense back then, huh? Because the beard, I think, just looks objectively really good. So
I would tend to agree with you. I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah, basically.
But like, I think that's the majority of kind of what I knew going into it. Like, I felt pretty like I didn't really have a sense of where everything was going to be going. I didn't know. So it was a nice surprise.
My information was scattered. I remember like I came across an article that mentioned an LGBT rep in the movie. I remember seeing a Twitter post that was like, content warning for Endgame, fat phobia alerts.
Oh, okay. Well, we should definitely talk about that at some point.
We bring that up. Things. I scrolled past a YouTube video that the moment I noticed it was Endgame related, I backed off. But I saw the phrase time travel, but I wasn't sure if it was a theory video or like a spoiler video. So like, but that that was in my head. I think it was in my head anyway, but like that kind of just reinforced it.
Yeah.
Spoilers. I mean, I had to look at people talking about how much the movie made them sob for like a day or two beforehand.
Yeah. And I had heard stuff about like the last hour is amazing, but like I didn't know why. I didn't know why. So I was like, okay. I mean, like it should be. I'm sure it is. So
you want to hop in?
Let's hop in. So all right. So where like I guess we should just start from the beginning because that makes sense.
Okay, so Tony Stark, right, is going through this area to show off some of his weapons, right? So it's interesting. So at this point in time, he's kind of not the nicest guy, actually. I mean, that doesn't really change too much, am I right, fellas? But he's going to show off his weaponry, his Stark tech, to a panel of military peoples.
Yeah.
And he shows them off, but shortly after that, he ends up in space with Nebula.
Exactly. It's really it's
perfect. A little football game.
The mirror. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, the mirroring of starting with Tony stranded in some sort of way at the beginning of the first and the last movie. That's pretty cool. I love that. Did you
except someone else gets him out of this one.
Someone else gets him out of this one. This is true.
Actually, well, you could argue the first time he had a lot of help.
Yeah. But I guess before we get into that, we should really you're forgetting the cold open.
Hawkeye.
You're forgetting Hawkeye. So that actually that actually reminds me. I was pretty sure the movie would start like this because I had seen like on Reddit there was someone who claimed like I've seen the first 20 minutes of the movie, blah blah blah, and I had just seen like that the start of it was like Hawkeye watches his family like get dusted away.
I think that's not the easiest way to go, but I think that is the most expected way to go about it because you want to reinforce the ending of the last movie at the start of this movie.
Oh, definitely.
And like, who else do you do it with other than?
And like from the trailer, we knew that like something had to have happened to him for him to like go with his new look, the Ronin look, which they don't call him Ronin, but like like that whole different revamp of himself. You were like, okay, his family probably died from the snap. So this person must have just guessed that because they were saying that, and then they also said at some point, okay, Tony's in space, blah blah blah. He has a dream of his and Pepper's wedding, and and like that didn't happen. So I guess they were just making it up. So they were big liars. Yeah, they lied.
Fans from the internet, please.
Yeah, but yeah, it was just so I was like, okay, the way they started it with this scene was just. I thought it was a perfect opening because, as you said, it re-emphasizes the end of Infinity War. It re-emphasizes the snap without forcing you to like see like them to just show the exact same thing again. Like it lets you have, and it does it in a more grounded way. Like because it just starts on this very very relatable family scene, this gathering with questionable food options, and that we go from there and. yeah, like the crowd right away was like, no, like we're so upset.
I mean, the moment the scene started, I was like, okay, it's gonna be one of these scenes.
Yeah.
And even knowing what is going to happen, I'm still gonna be upset. That sums up quite a few scenes in the movie for me, actually. Like,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
know what's going to happen, and I'm still gonna be upset over it anyway, as though I didn't know what was coming.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. But yeah, I just so yeah, I'm watching it, like everyone's like, I think everyone had figured out, but yeah, they're audibly like, oh no. And it's like, thank goodness that Avengers Age of Ultron, for all of the negative reception that it gets, like did properly set up Hawkeye's family and the farmhouse. Because like that was like the big thing way back in the day, that the studio was on Joss Whedon's back, like, I don't know if we want you to like slow down the movie and have all this character development and good material over at the with the scene, because like that's really important, because that's like a big part of like the emotional core of this. And similar to how Age of Ultron kind of had the whole thing of like, oh well, then here's Hawkeye and his wife, and like she's pregnant, and like, oh, Hawkeye he's gonna make it back for his like he's gonna die, like. Again, they still fake you out to that up through to the end of this, that like Hawkeye's still alive and his family is still alive. But that's pretty cool that they're able to fake you out like that. Because they tricked me again. I thought he would die in this one too, but he did not.
This is a good scene for that. You might have a little bit of microphone buzziness going.
I do. Should I just? I mean, let me just.
I don't hear you at all now, which is.
What? How about now?
Yeah,
How about now?
I can.
Is this better?
No buzzies.
No
I'm not sure if
buzzies?
that's
Okay.
high quality though.
All right. Well,
It's better than buzzies, I suppose.
every 5 minutes, I'll go back and forth. How about that?
Mix it up.
Mix it up a little. But yeah, so okay, so then that's that scene, and it's good because they don't even show the effect of, because it would probably be over the top given the grounded nature of that scene to like see the actual family be like, but like he just sees the dust particles.
So and then the realization of that that would have hurt to watch like after the fact.
Yeah, definitely.
And we got the flip side of that with Ant-Man and Cassie later.
Right. I thought all of his family would be dead too. But, yeah,
They did a much better job than what they ended up doing is a lot better than anything they could have done with his family being dead.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
I remember during the movie that I had heard a rumor that they had casted an older actress for her for this movie. So like, but I'd forgotten about that going into the film. But yeah, so we get that. We get our Marvel Cinematic Studio whatever logo, and then we get our Tony and Nebula in space. Which, you know, it starts at like the first time watching it, I'm thinking like, okay, like Tony seems to be in like pretty surprisingly good spirits at this point. But like, I think like seeing the scene again, because like having seen it twice, like I came to appreciate what that scene represented more. Because for Tony, it's that he's like being like a bit more of a paternal figure, which of course is like a big deal throughout this film. And Nebula is like being told that she did a good job and it's a fair game. She's taught some, and like this is like maybe the first time that it's ever happened really for her. And like it's really touching when you like think about it, for such a seemingly goofy, innocuous sequence playing their little game.
yeah, there were the same things happening there. I wasn't sure if that's coming up on the mic.
You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I honestly I would have liked even more. Did you see how the same poster went?
Yeah,
Poster buddies. I would have liked to see more Tony Nebula. I mean, like going into this movie, there are a lot of things that I expected to see a lot of that I did not see a lot of, and sometimes that's better than other things. They sold me on it pretty quickly. Tony Nebula are a good pair that we lose pretty quickly.
I know. I do agree with you. Like, because based on the trailer, you almost kind of thought that the amount of time he would spend there could be comparable to how much he spent in the cave in the first movie. But like maybe not like that, but like that much movie time we would like cut back to seeing him there. Like, I don't know, but yeah. So that was definitely. I think I agree with you there. It would be nice to get more.
I mean, Tony's really, really good at laughing away the pain.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's that whole introductory sequence.
Well, that's the whole thing, right? Because like I feel like a lot of people when I talk to them will still say like, "Oh, Tony's he's so arrogant and he's so egotistical," and it's like I feel like you're still thinking about the Tony from like the first 30 minutes of the first movie because I think he's come a long way to the point that his like humor at this point has become more of just a defense mechanism, if anything.
I mean, he still is. It's weird because he's in a weird spot where he's arrogant because he is on top of his game pretty consistently. So like he's earned the right to be arrogant as opposed to earlier films where like he's just a jerk.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, like he can brag about the fact that he created time travel. Like I mean,
yeah, that's pretty fair. It's a good reason to brag. Yeah, but like he wants to protect everybody, and that's been like he has his PTSD and everything, and he wanted to have a suit of armor around the world, and he's been trying. He's really trying, guys. He
doesn't trust the world to make their own decisions. Just like Thanos.
Oh God! All right. Well, we'll get to Thanos pretty like way quicker than you think, both in the movie and now. So, but yeah, so Cappy Marv shows up to save the day. Oh, before that, I'll mention quick Easter egg that Tony, like, did you notice he's like, it's like day 21, 22, like, it's his 22nd movie. Hee hee. Pretty clever little wink wink nudge nudge to us film goers. But anyway, yeah, so Cappy Marv shows up. What do you think? What did you think that she'd show up to save him? Because I wasn't really like, surprisingly I didn't
have no idea how they were going to get saved, but the moment that they okay, here's my thing. I think it was impossible for me to guess that would happen at that moment because I was under the assumption that we would see the Captain Marvel end credits scene in the movie first.
Yeah.
So, they totally skipped over that. They're like, Captain Marvel's here. She's here. Don't worry.
Like with the Captain Marvel credits scene, which is that like she shows up and she's like, "Where's Fury?" Like, is that canon? Did that happen?
Yeah. No, it happened. We just skipped it.
what I was saying was that like that happens, and then Rocket maybe is like talking to her, and he's like, "Yeah, I have like a GPS on my ship, and like there's maybe have some friends over there if you could go get them."
And then she's like, "Yeah, sure." Because it makes total sense. It's just that it was unexpected because it skipped a beat that I felt had to be first.
Right.
And it didn't really have to be first. I thought, but you know, like there's a lead into Civil War that had a scene of the swords, and that ended up in the Civil War movie just the second time.
Yes. Ant-Man had that scene, and even at the end of Captain America: The First Avenger, they showed the Captain America's first scene, and then they show an Avengers trailer, literally. So that's pretty funny. They still have that, but yeah, I agree. And anyone who says it's a plot hole, like how did she even find them? It's like that's how because that's how. So yeah, that was really cool. I love how like long it kind of like sat on like and like look it was like this like heavenly light that was like really like there's so many atmospheric moments in this movie that they just let it sit. I mean
that's like the entire first third plus of the movie is just
oh definitely
dismal sullen atmosphere which works for me for the most part. I tend to dig it, but
Me too.
I think it's more of the surprise of how long it went that more so than it actually being out of place at any points.
For sure. Because I was definitely really happy about it. I was really happy that it was really sad because after the snap, like I don't want it to then just be like, oh, it's super easy to just undo the consequences of this, and like even after everything they do, they don't like there are still consequences that remain and new consequences that are created. So I appreciated that there was time that passed and movie time that passed before they were able to do anything. But yeah, so Captain Marvel comes back, brings Tony and Nebula back to safety. We have the reveal that Pepper is alive, which, I mean, the trailers like showed it, but I was led to question anything that was in a trailer. So I thought, well, maybe she's dead. I don't know. She could be dead.
There's a scene in the movie that I think you were the one who told me about this.
Yeah.
That the Russo brothers were like, "That's not in the movie," and it's like, in the movie,
kind of in the movie. So
basically,
it's yeah. So I think Kevin McCarthy, was the guy who interviewed the Russo brothers, and he was saying about like, I really love this scene where Tony and Cap play. It's like, you trust me? I do. and they shake hands. Like, it's just so perfect. Like, he didn't put a joke there or anything. It's really like you committed to the seriousness of that moment. And then the Russos start to answer it like, yeah, like, well, it's not in the movie. And he's just like,
but
well, like it is in the movie.
and he's like,
It's not
that's my favorite scene.
It's not their first reunion, but like it's in the movie. Like there's a handshake part, and there's also "You trust me, I do" part. So like,
that's the whole part of the trailer. So like, I mean,
yeah. So they're both are basically, but yeah. So like, okay, but like so when did you notice also when Tony touches down, like Steve comes up to him before he even touched it? I thought that was cute.
yeah, they're basically dating.
They're basically dating. That was nice. Yeah, it was cool because like also like I appreciate all of the acknowledgement of like the stakes of Civil War and all of the ideological argument that did indeed transpire and how like I mean like they touched on it in Infinity War where Bruce is basically just like Tony, I mean like it doesn't matter if you're not like on speaking terms at this point. Like you gotta give Steve a good old call there. But like it's nice that he does come right up to him, and Tony isn't like immediately just like, oh, I hate you. He's just like I lost the kid, and it's really sad.
It's a weird thread in the movie because I went into the movie expecting a whole lot more of Tony Steve recovery time.
Yeah.
Than we ended up getting, but I think what makes it so I'm not completely upset by like a lack of fixing up there is that like Steve is so open to fixing things between them.
Yeah.
Like, Steve really doesn't hold the grudge at all. And
Right.
Tony does at first a little, and then it eases pretty quickly, and it's pushed to the wayside. But I expected that to be the emotional crux of the movie. So the fact that like it really doesn't get much time really surprised me.
Right. Because arguably Steve has like come to terms with it by the end of Civil War when he writes his good old like apology note to Tony at the end.
Love Steve.
Love Steve. Smiley face heart. Like so yeah, that's definitely a really good point. Hello, whoever that is.
That's John.
Okay.
Moaning on purpose.
Okay. So I'd love to see more verbal sparring, of that because I love to meet the Civil War.
I want my good character conflict.
But there's plenty of that, just of a slightly different variety. But verite, cinema verite. So yes. So yeah. So then they start being like, well, we actually do have a way to maybe go get Thanos because like use the stones again. This is like an unprecedented effect that it's had on the world, but like here it is over there. We mapped it out, and like Nebula knows where he is and all that. And you're like, oh wow, okay. So like we have our game plan ready to go already. It was surprising. Oh, and also I can't steamroll over like one of the best jokes in the movie, where like Rocket just is like casually talking about like, oh, like well Thor like he feels like he failed, which he did, but there's a lot of it to go around. And Tony just said, until this very second I thought you were Build-A-Bear. I thought. I enjoy that because they've integrated him like so much better than anyone could have possibly thought. I think it just feels completely natural. I think other people their mileage may vary, but for me he's like integrated perfectly well. But like just to have like the bubble pop for that, I thought was perfect.
I mean they integrated him well. The tricky thing with posing that it goes for a few other characters, but I feel like Rocket just doesn't have the strongest presence in the movie.
Okay.
But like. He's on the team, so and that feels natural. So in that right. sense,
I agree with that. So yeah, so then they go off to go get Mr. Thanos, and they find him, and like it was interesting. Did your theater? Because the two times I saw, like the first time, I think they were pretty like reasonably quiet for this part. The second time, there were some people that were laughing at seeing Thanos doing farming, being in casual wear. Did anyone have that reaction?
No. Yeah. I mean, I was just happy. I was just like, this is just really nice.
Really nice. Seeing Thanos do his little.
He's just having a good time.
He had a cowboy hat and like a little, like.
Just for those cows.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. But yeah, you do see like he is pretty sufficiently damaged right off the bat. So you're like, okay, well, what's gonna be happening?
Happened.
Did you think they were gonna like?
First, it has like dirt on his face. He's been farming. He's had a long day.
Yeah, just dirt. He just fell face first.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. Like, did you think they were gonna give him the
Yes.
quite literally give him the axe there?
Okay, well, let me rewind. Because yes and no.
Okay.
Going into the movie, no, because I put on my betting list. Okay. Me, my boyfriend, and my 2 roommates all did like a betting charts, right?
That's awesome. Okay.
Of who's gonna live, who's gonna die come the end of the movie that I organized. It was a lot of fun. And I actually had Thanos as live come the end of the movie because my thought process was we would have like our early fight with Thanos, and maybe they like come the end of the fight, they'd either like capture Thanos or put him in a position where he's like forced to help them in some sort of way, and that'll get things going.
Mhm.
But right when he said I destroyed the stones, I'm like, they don't have any use for this guy.
That's true.
So Thor,
You're 200% wrong. He died. 200%.
so Thor coming in and killing him off, I was like, yeah, that was coming.
That I just have to
Went over the head.
made me so happy. I know it was too late, but like ever since seeing that movie, I feel like my affection for Thor has grown so much since like Ragnarok and Infinity War and like everything. He's lost his mother, his father, his brother, his best friend. It's like I just wanted him to like get the redemption of like going for the head. So not only did I clap and cheer for when he did it, I clapped and cheered for when he said of course, like that he did indeed go for the head. Loved it. I really 10 out of 10 for me on that. Yeah, it was great.
He's very proud of himself, but at the same time, like you feel where this is going, like right in that moment, because it's like, well, Thor, what did you accomplish?
No, it's true.
It feels hollow, and it's meant to.
Yes, it's definitely hollow, but like I'm just also glad Thanos was just like, oh daughter, like maybe I judged too harsh or whatever. Like just shut him up. Just do it. You have no use for him. Just kill him off. Yeah, I didn't think. I thought they were going to do some sort of twisty thing with Thanos in the beginning. I didn't think that would mean killing him. I did not think that he would have used the stones to destroy the stones. I thought he would be like, the gauntlet doesn't work anymore. Like, I can't get it to work. I don't know.
It's broken.
I called the technical support and they can't help me.
How about some Stark tech?
I tried turning it off and on and it wouldn't work. Well, yeah. No, like, so I love that. And like the slow fade as Thor like goes out of focus and like such an instantly iconic image, I think, as he walks out with Stormbreaker and then slowly 5
Don't say years.
And everyone went, what? It was great.
Oh.
5 years later.
Like, it wouldn't have been anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, and you're like, if you narrowed it down in your head, it's like
God. Yeah.
The only alternate it could have been that was worth the build up before the years was like if it was like 5 months earlier. Like if we went back in time, maybe that would have been almost as interesting. But 5 years later, yeah, that's
5 decades. God, yeah. So that was a huge shock.
Hey, Brian, you could ban people from the stream chat, right?
Oh, is there someone being?
Yeah.
Oh no. Let me see. Let me figure it out. Is there actually, or are you making a joke?
Yeah, Samuel Thornbury.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured you were talking about.
Not liking that guy. Not liking him one bit.
Okay, I think. All right, hold on. Let me get him out. All right.
Oh yes, it's a reference. Yes.
It happened. So yeah. Yeah. So 5 years later, right off the bat, I'm like, okay, we're dealing with the consequences. We're gonna let it.
Everyone's crying. I'm crying.
And then that's
when
we go into the support group scene. We get our with Captain America.
We get the gay character over with in that scene. Real quick, let's just. No, that's a relief.
Let's talk about the gay. Now, Justin, if you will, you can go first. I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, the gay one was all, I dating a boy, and then the audience goes, we respect the diversity. And he's like, and I'm a Russo. We respect the authorial intent.
Hey, Cap, can I get your number? Support group future purposes, of course.
And then Russo turns right to me and says, Justin, I'm here so Valkyrie and Captain Marvel don't have to kiss.
Oh.
Because
why not both?
That would be too much representation.
Oh.
We gotta have just the right amount. Just so we don't like make the people too angry. I was talking to friends for like a while by this point on like, okay, so we're basically confirmed to have representation of some sort of the movie. So we're like, okay, if it's gonna be one of the heroes, how do we narrow it down? Who could it be? And like my mindset became, okay, it can't be any of the male heroes because the hardcore manly audience like puts themselves into the characters.
Oh, you poor
and then we had the female characters, and it's like, okay, we can't choose any of the female characters that are too sexualized, right? Because all the men want to be with those characters, and we can't mess with that.
Yeah.
So we need like the more masked, less sexualized female characters, and it's like, well, Captain Marvel, Valkyrie, Korg.
I'm all for that.
We don't know what Thor and Korg have been up to. Let's be fair. Between Fortnite games, you got to do something.
My God, I just had before I forget the fact that there is not only who is calling me. Oh, I can't answer our group call.
Sorry, Ben.
Sorry, Ben. Yeah, the fact that there is not only Fortnite, but 69 and dabbing in the movie. So happy because
it was like something noob 69, and I was like,
yeah, like not only will like all the people were so mad about what are those.
I was so happy with that scene. Thor talked to him for Korg, like,
we'll get to it.
Tell me if you need any more help. Yeah, we'll do. It's taking it very seriously.
I'm so glad Korg and Meek were in the movie.
I put Korg and Meek on our betting list as a joke.
Oh, as dying?
And my friend and my roommate John put him as going to die.
Oh God, I'm so glad they were in the movie. I'm so glad. But yeah, okay. Well, yeah. So is that kind of how you like, in your jokey way, how you felt about the representation? Because I didn't hear anything about representation.
No, I'm fine with it. It's a step. Like whatever. Like, yeah. I mean, it is what it is, and they took it very seriously. I was reading in the article, and like, he specifically said that he portrayed the character because he wanted to make sure the audience was aware that's something that they take seriously. And in the article, they were talking about like the movement towards further diversity. It's like, okay, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's the closest we've gotten. And you know what? So I feel like I see a lot less male gay diversity. So like, it's there's something there too. But maybe that's just being part of like the animation circle.
Yeah.
Because I hear in live action it's a little different. From word around town, I want to know what a live action thing looks like. I can't even look at you.
I hear it's similar to life, but I'm not really positive on that. But yeah, no, I agree, and I appreciate the significance of the Russos actually that having portrayed like one of them having portrayed them. The subtleness of it is nice that he just uses the he him pronouns and it's not dwelled on or anything. So yeah, not positive for me.
It's played fairly straightforward, and if you miss like 2 words, you totally miss it.
yeah, but the subtleness of it is also part of it. So like I get it.
No, I'd say that's a good way to go about it. We're still like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
I know. What's the thing with this movie though?
It's a lot of it's a dense movie.
Yeah, I think we'll probably speed up more over the course of it, but there was a lot of ground covered. But like, yeah, so then a lot of it now is, I saw someone had tweeted about this, and I don't think it got a lot of attention. I don't know if anyone else has talked about it.
that all of the core Avengers, with the exception of if you take Steve out of the equation for a second and just say a man at a time or whatever, all of the other original Avengers represent one of the 5 stages of grief. Did you hear about this at all?
I did not.
So if you go through all of them, because the stages of grief, that is, you got your denial. So like you could probably figure who's then in denial, which would be our good old Hulk, our good old big brain.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's all chill.
Big brain Banner.
I'm just making some updates. It's everything's fine. It's okay.
And I called that to you, didn't I? Before the movie, I called it.
Called what specifically?
That he would be like the half Hulk, half Banner, like Hydra.
I don't think I've heard that theory. I don't know if I heard it from you though.
I did. I said it. Don't take
To
this
me?
away from
To me?
Yes, I did. I'll get the receipts. I'll get the receipts. No, but like, yeah. It was because I was thinking, like, I was going through it in my head, like, what permutation of Hulk have we not seen? Because we've seen Bruce trying to repress the Hulk. We've seen the Hulk trying to repress Bruce. We've seen him not being able to get the Hulk when he wants the Hulk. But, like, I was like, they have to do it now because I've heard it.
So now we got the Beast from X-Men.
Yes, we got the X-Men.
It really is. It's the Beast from X-Men, but green. And not voiced by Fraser.
Which is
which is fine because Mark Ruffalo is one of my favorite actors in MCU. So
I love him. Yeah, his gentle giant nature in this was just really nice. And like him getting the taco for Ant-Man when he lost it, and then the back of the car. I love it. He's so cool.
And this is just gratuitous.
Yeah, this is just gratuitous. He says to take the shirt off. I love that. But yeah, so he's denial. Anger is definitely Clint. It's definitely Hawkeye. 100%. You would think it would be Hulk, but it's not. It's Hawkeye taking off out his. So like this is another like was he like because he was doing the whole vigilante thing, but the people he was killing were like they were like bad people, right? Like
that confused me the first time around. I had it clarified by a friend who was like, no, they specifically said that he's just going after like gangs and whatnot. So it's like okay. I thought at first that he was, especially based on Black Widow's reaction. I was like, oh, he's just going out murdering people out of anger.
Yeah,
but really, it's Batmaning.
Right. I was worried at first too because I was like, is he just like just mass murdering?
But the way he gives a speech, he's like, oh, Thanos didn't kill you, so I'm gonna have to do it myself. Makes it seem like he's just doing it to everyone who Thanos didn't kill.
Right. Yeah, and like you can't give me what I want. Like, what I want, you don't have. So yeah, I was really worried that he was very angry, but thankfully he was redeemably angry.
Yeah, he's just killing everyone. That's pretty redeemable.
Killing everyone, and we still go to him like, "Can you please help us, please?" But yeah,
we just need skilled peoples.
Yeah, bargaining is then Natasha. It's our good friend Black Widow because she's very much we get the impression she's holding down the fort. She has her like monthly like Skype calls with everyone else who survived from like the Avengers group, and it's like everything like this channel's always open. Like if stuff is going on like that they're trying to deal with, so she's trying to account for it. She's not acknowledging it. She is like I think the bargaining does make sense for her.
I think that one's a little looser, but I can roll with it. Yeah. And then what's left is depression, which is definitely Thor, which can bring us into talking about Thor and our reintroduction to him after the 5 years later time card. So go ahead, you can start, Justin. What?
You can start. You can talk about him.
Oh no, I mean I was just. We're playing to the chat in a sense. I mean, Thor is pretty glorious. I mean, one of my first thoughts was Lebowski, and then Tony helped me out on that one to say to the crowd. He has a very interesting arc over the movie because it's pretty consistent up until one conversation. I think that one conversation is the arc, the change throughout the story, but he's really funny especially before his conversation with his mother, like being able to explain the plot of Dark World and everyone being incredibly bored.
Yes. I just love that, like as like a side tangent, that a part of this movie is basically all of the Marvel characters having to sit down and watch all of the previous Marvel movies and take notes. Be like, oh God, what happened in this? Where was Doctor Strange from? What's going on?
New York.
I don't know if there's a lot of people like making like articles about like the meta nature of that, but I thought that was really funny.
Get on it.
Yeah, I will. And now I've said it. Oh no, I've said it. No, someone's gonna steal my idea. But yeah. So yeah, Thor, like definitely. I had heard a rumor as to his physique beforehand, but I was definitely I was definitely surprised by that. And that's definitely
Cat phobia.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, I remember the tweet I saw made it seem like it was like a very potent part of the movie, and like there weren't like I can recall like I think Rocket and Tony each made like a slight jab at it, but like and his mother, okay, it repeated a little bit. I get the feel. Okay. The tricky thing about fat phobia is it tends to become an issue when it's referring to a person who is just more naturally shaped in a larger way. So like, and it can't really be helped.
Yeah.
Whereas Thor is specifically being what we mortals would see as unhealthy.
Right.
I would say there tends to be a difference there. And how much and how easy it is to jab at one or the other. So I think it could be a little worse. I don't know. I feel like it was more potent in Infinity War with Thor versus Star-Lord.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, you put on a few pounds. It's like that's hitting at a person who it doesn't seem to actually be being unhealthy, and it's just that's just kind of his body.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting. Like you wonder if they laid those seeds on purpose for like because there is obviously
they wrote the scripts at like the same time, huh?
Yeah.
They could have. That's totally possible. Yeah.
Because you would think that something would come up of that dynamic again as we go further, because presumably Thor will be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, like presumably. So
okay, so this is one of my thoughts coming out of the movie. Like, imagine you're put in a scenario where you get to write a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 script with Thor and are told that might get scrapped.
Oh my God. Saddest day ever. But yeah, no, to respond to everything that you were saying, I think you put it really well. There's some, I would say, gentle ribbing throughout the movie. Like occasionally there's the thing about like whatever, like he has like the cheese whiz through his veins, and the mother says about like eating a salad, which I think
you look like a melted ice cream or something like that.
Oh yeah, the melted ice cream. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that one's the Rocket one.
And his mom tells him to eat a salad.
Yes. So those are like
that sums it up, right?
Like, I mean, but I felt like on the whole, because like Bruce he comes over and puts his shoulder out, like, are you right? Are you all right, buddy? Like, I didn't think it was mean spirited, or at the very least as mean spirited as some people like seem to have thought it was. I thought the whole point of where the character is at this point in his arc is supposed to be that he's very much like he feels like he's failed everybody. Like the one thing that then he thought would then give him some level of gratification was too late, and this is like the visual storytelling externalization of such. But what also then I think helps it is that this is how he stays in this different body type, and this is how he fights in the climax, which I think there's like a note of empowerment to that. But like there's still I feel like a lot of then where you feel like then it comes from then a place of humor is just like the shock value of how then he is shot in that way. And you could say like, it's I've also read some people see it as like a subversion of like all like the shirtless Marvel superhero shots that you would especially see a lot more of in like phase 1, phase 2-ish, like that kind of era of the MCU. So you like one could say it's like a subversion sort of that. But like I think like more of like the humor just comes like the audience would like see like hit his physique, and then they would just laugh, even though a joke wasn't being made necessarily at his expense. So like that's sort of just where I come at from it. I understand if someone like feels offended by it, but like that's just sort of like my personal.
I went into the movie being told quite a few times that this movie does the typical Marvel thing where
Uh-huh.
a lot of the humor, a lot of the more serious moments are undercut by humor at inopportune moments. But I haven't really, I've gotten that in other Marvel movies. I really didn't get that here.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. I think it was more just like there would never be a moment that was serious that same moment had like a joke undercut it. Maybe we would cut to something else that would maybe be funnier or of a lighter tone. But even that I never felt was like very jarring or anything. Like imagine if they had like the Soul Stone stuff like not be the last stone that we were shown them getting. Like there would be no way you could pull that off tonally, right? But like I thought like it fit because like after that like there was never any like light antics that then we cut to after that. I guess. But like yeah, so that's just sort of like was there anything else that you wanted to say on that topic before I go to the last stage of grief? Or
Let's go to we're not even jumping back to where we were in the story. Before that, we're back to the stages of grief.
No. But this is my way of going through like the first hour, kind of like to just
Okay.
touch
Yeah,
on.
no, I mean that's a very good way of going about it. I'm glad you thought that through.
Right. That's right, Justin. I'm not an idiot. Okay. So acceptance is then the one that's left, and that's basically where that's where Tony is at, because Tony like that was a huge surprise that not only did he indeed get to be married, because like calling back to the stuff with Hawkeye that you wouldn't think he'd be able to keep his family, which like I mean like obviously Tony like, yeah we'll get to it, but the fact that he did get married and he had a kid, I was like, what? This was not something that I thought I would see ever. This is awesome.
The most intense mix of reactions I had throughout the entire movie was seeing that he had a daughter and her popping out. Because it's intense glee at, oh my gosh, my wonderful, beautiful Tony has an adorable daughter, and this is delightful. And then the immediate next reaction of, one of these two is not going to make it through the movie. Absolutely not. Not a chance. Either time travel is going to wipe out that daughter and it's going to totally mess with Tony.
That was definitely
Tony's going to have to sacrifice this good life because he has a good life. Yes. And heroes can't have that.
Right. Of course.
Except unless you're Captain America.
Exactly. You can't have a good life. You have to be brooding. It's what the fans want.
I mean, it's also like it's a very weird situation when Tony is told by Doctor Strange in the previous movie that there's one chance at getting things right, and clearly it involves him because Doctor Strange
let him live.
Made sure that he lived.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, Tony's now the person who's not taking action.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I was thinking like, I don't know if anyone else thought this, but after a while, like they were talking about like, oh, like your mom or whatever. I was like, is the mom definitely Pepper? And it was, but they kind of didn't show her for a while.
I didn't even consider that, honestly.
Because I thought maybe that's the way that it's not the perfect life. Maybe like something, I don't know. But it was hard.
He had to have a perfect life in order for like him to be able to prove that he's a true hero by being willing to give it up.
Right. No, exactly. That's the hero way. But yeah, so he had seemed to accept it and moved on, and there's no and that carries through to when he's presented a potential, seemingly crazy, kooky alternative solution. He's just like, well, I mean, like that's it. That was like 1,000,001 shot. That like what happened to you, Scott? Like this is just this is life now, and we got to then keep going. Even if we could go back, we could mess it up even worse. So he had seemed to accepted it in his way. But yeah, so I guess that can bring us into Scott Lang, I guess, right?
So we're introduced to Dr. Rats, the rat who lives in the garage. I expected to spend more time with him. He seems like a really chill guy. He loved pressing buttons. He loved just scampering around, being adventurous. Like, that's high tier Marvel character material right there. And yet, Scott Lang shows up and it's like, okay, forget the rat. We got to make sure the daughter's alive.
I love the theory that the rat is Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay, it's a start. Yeah, Disney probably acquired that too. Disney's taken everything by this point.
I mean, like they own My Soul, so they probably own the Turtles. I mean, I wasn't supposed to say bleep, bloop, blop, bleep, bloop. Robot from reboot. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. No, the
Right, I
rat.
think your mic's messed up again.
Yeah,
You got
no,
a
that was
robot.
great. I think I'm okay.
Okay. We're
yeah.
good then.
Like, I'm sure there are some people who are going to be in the camp of, really? A rat saved the entire universe? But for me, I'm in the camp of, a rat saved the entire universe. It's hilarious. I dig it. I mean, like, if it wasn't the rat, it would have just been, like, Chang, security guard Chang, going over and being like, whatever, and then, like, I think it's just funny that it was a rat. Like, I don't know.
I mean, the rat took 5 years to do it, so how great can the rat really be?
Well, he tried. He doesn't have opposable thumbs, Justin. He really had to try. But it is a little weird that like the van like has like it's like labeled Scott Lang and everything. So like clearly like there was some care given to like move this and like preserve it in some way. So like no one ever thought to be like I guess not.
Do you do that every time you see a laptop on the street? Come on, Brian.
I guess that's true. You're right. I respect the privacy of this dead individual. I'll just leave this page. But
I mean, think about it this way: 50% of the population is in situations like these.
That's true. That's a very good point. You know,
so like, there's a lot of laptops to clickety clack.
There is. So thankfully, the rat did not mind invading Scott Lang's privacy because that moral choice saved the universe. So yeah, so
maybe it shows that if we were just a little more animalistic,
oh my god, yeah.
we'd be better heroes if we worked off of instinct rather than.
What if Thanos wiped out that rat? Then we would have been screwed. Oh boy.
Well, if you took out that rat. There's probably another rat out there who would have survived.
It was his destiny. Justin.
How's it broken down? Is it like 50% per species? Or is it 50% of all life and there could be like an unequal amount of each species?
The way that it's put in the movie by Black Widow is 50% of all living things. It doesn't get any more specific than that.
As far as she knows.
As far as she knows. Right, because she's basing it on
Thanos could have organized it and could have simplified it, say, per species. But like, imagine all the rats were wiped out.
Because all these governments were like shattered, so like, and they're just doing like the people census. So she doesn't know. What's she going to be like? There seem to be half as many frogs now. I think there's half as many frogs. I think that's a fair. Okay, half as many frogs, everybody. Like
we're doing a census here.
I don't know, but yeah, like oh man. It is good that they touch a little bit on like how like I mean like the Mets are gone. Like you gotta wonder what's happened to pop culture at this point. Like is there still a Pixar movie basically every year? Like I don't know. Like what's going on?
What if it's every other year now?
No, unacceptable. I did.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to live here. Now you convinced me. It might not be perfect in this universe.
I know. I was kind of hoping for there to be some sort of like vocal minority that was seeing Thanos as like some sort of like merciful deity that was like, oh well, he spared all of us because our lives are important. Like some sort of like cult, like which is almost kind of hinted at in that Steve says like Thanos didn't kill us, so he might as well have killed us if we didn't do something with our lives. I thought it would have been interesting, but like that doesn't really have to do with our heroes. So like. For their little,
yeah, I mean, I think it would have been.
It wouldn't have worked, but yeah.
I think it would have been cool. I mean, I guess that's world building for you. But like, I feel like I've seen that before. Like, I don't need it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're right. I am a hack, and it wasn't. Well,
no, I know that.
Yeah.
It's just that the audience didn't.
Okay, that's true.
The viewing audience subscribed to your channel. I'm pretty sure they had to be subs, right? Because I don't think you tweeted about it or anything.
It had to be what? Oh, like me tweeting about this live stream, you mean?
Yeah. I'm just saying that they had to come here through the subscription box.
Oh yeah, I should probably tweet about this live stream, shouldn't I?
If you'd like to, they could hear us pick right back up with Scott Lang coming back, and he sees his daughter, who's 5 years older, after finding out she's alive, and he's like, "You look different. You're taller." It's like, man, this is pretty intense and scary. And
I love Paul Rudd.
That's one of the best scenes, I think.
His acting in that scene, I thought, was fantastic. I loved.
He's not really given moments like that in his own movies.
That's
so,
what I
like,
was just gonna say. Like,
yeah.
I feel like it was his best acting in like the whole franchise.
I
Like,
love Paul Rudd as Ant-Man. I love
Yeah.
Scott Lang as a character. It's just that he's not made to be. He's not constructed to be the most dynamic character in his own movies.
no, definitely.
But he's consistently a fun character.
Exactly. So like, yeah, he's consistently a fun character, but just the act, not just like with the scene with him like being able to see like his daughter all grown up, but the fact that like he goes and literally like there's I guess this kind of gets a little bit more at the what's happened to the culture kind of thing of like all the monuments of all the different names that have been like gone away or like are presumed dead due to the vanishing. And I thought that was a really evocative idea and like such a great way for him to like be scanning the name. And like I presume the way that the direction that the scene would go would just be that he would see like his daughter's name or like his other fan like Hope or whoever on there, but that he sees his own name there like makes it an even cooler scene. I think I love that.
So then he goes to the Avengers. Is like, okay, time travel, and they're like, okay, we haven't thought about that, and we're kind of desperate by this point. Nothing really happened between that, right? So we just jump right there,
Right.
And then they go to Tony and are like, okay, let me pitch this to you. We reacted well, so you're probably gonna react well. Time travel.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure. And then the movie's done.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, it was pretty easy to no, like yeah. What did you think about his resistance?
Well, I mean, I can hit on exactly what I was getting at earlier. Of like, he should be at least a little aware that he needs to be pulling some sort of weights, being that Doctor Strange made sure he was spared.
Mm-hmm.
But like, then yeah, it's a tricky situation because I do think that he did think on it after he rejected the offer. And like the idea stuck with him, and he worked at it for a while, and he figured it out himself while they're out talking to Professor Hulk. So I think it was a cute scene. We established the daughter there, and then we make sure that there's still heat between Tony and the rest of the Avengers, and we need that time to set up the fact that Tony loves this new life.
Yeah.
And to be a hero, he has to be willing to sacrifice that, and that's how that is.
Right. Now, I had been under the impression that, like, it seemed like if they didn't let this movie be 3 hours, that a scene like the one between him and Pepper just talking about the fact that he had time travel and whether or not he's used it, like, I feel like that would have been like a deleted scene. That would have been in an extended cut. But then it's in the movie. Like, it really needs to be. You know, and like because it gives Pepper her due, which like she needs. Like, I really wanted her to have her like rescue suit and like for them to pay off Iron Man 3, her like being able to like, be in the suit at the end. So it was really I didn't think it would happen, but I wanted it to happen, so I was happy about that. But also just that, yes, he says like will like he's like, oh, I feel like I should just get rid of it, like throw it in a lake or whatever. This whole idea of time travel, and she says, but would you be able to rest? And that hit me all the more the second time seeing it, because of course are you just realizing it now? Okay, you can rest. You can rest. Oh,
Okay,
perfect.
Brian. Okay.
I love that. Wasn't that great? Oh. No, I was quoting the movie. I wasn't giving you.
Whoops.
You better wake up right now. That's how it works. Okay. There we go. Do you think Tony was going to consider messing around with time travel even after like they came over and suggested, or was it that he looked at the picture with him and good old Peter Parker and that made him be like, oh, the guilt though. All right, let me try it.
I think I'm sure he would have been thinking about it anyway.
Yeah.
Like going back and forth between options. It's interesting that he didn't really need to think through a lot of moral quandaries, and like it's a different kind of time travel. So he didn't have to think of things like, oh, but it'll make me lose my daughter. It's more of a, will I survive this and be able to continue to live to experience this new life of mine?
Clearly, he's talked about it with Pepper already, because later when they're talking, he's like, oh, you found out the answer to what? To time travel. She isn't like, yeah, they came to me to ask about time travel. Like, he talked to her about it before. So, yeah, you're right. Definitely.
Hey, Brian, I have a new person for you to ban in the chat.
Who's that?
this punk saying that Justice League trumps Avengers. Just saying, stated by a Disu Usagi. So I want to get on that.
Yesu, Asagi.
That's the name.
They're gone. They're gone.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah,
very much appreciated.
Have they even seen like? I mean, they haven't seen like any of the Marvel movies, and they fell asleep at Infinity War because they didn't know what's going on.
Didn't see this one.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess they can be here. I don't approve, but like, sure, all right, I'll spoil.
Embarrassing, surely.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I also just have to say, like, while we're on the subject, Tony and Morgan, like, I love their dynamic.
3,000.
He is. Their scenes together were magical. I don't know. I loved it. Like, it showed how good father could be. I don't know.
He learns by doing the opposite of his father.
Yeah, pretty much. Which we'll get to that too. But like,
there's so much movie.
So much movie, Justin. I'm sorry.
Brian, this is a problem. We're not even like 5 minutes into the movie.
We're past 5 minutes into the movie now.
We're not even 6 minutes into the movie.
We're not even 6 minutes into the movie. Yeah, like, see.
Okay, then they meet Professor Hulk. How do we feel about Professor Hulk?
Professor Hulk. Like I said, I called it, and I love him. And
it's cute, yeah. I like it.
Like, the diner scene, like, people are like, oh, the diner scene, I don't know if it's, like, cringe or whatever. Like, it's cringy in the most intentional of ways. Like,
yeah, it's cute.
Like, it's perfect.
It's just how he's living his life.
He's happy being green. I feel like he, like, what the way he said, like, oh, like, Hulk out or whatever the kids. Like, I get the impression he has, like, his own YouTube channel. Like, that's basically what I thought.
Bruce Banner would be a fantastic YouTuber, but, like, in a dad way.
Yeah. Yeah. He does, like, gaming streams with Korg and Meek from time to time, I hope. But.
You're just saying that because Korg and Hulk are big.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
What kind of phobia is that, Brian?
I don't even know. So. Hulky Rocky phobia.
And then Hulk tries to time travel, and he's like, I ain't no good at this. Actually, probably after that is when we get to Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch / Johansson.
Isn't that a problem? It's a problem, right? Yeah.
Black Widow.
Yeah.
Black Widow comes to save. I almost called him Ronin because that's a comic thing.
Right.
We stick to Hawkeye because there's already another Ronin.
Right. And he says, "No, Natasha. Like, I'm not just murdering bad. Like, I'm murdering just like any people. Like, I'm murdering babies now." And then she holds his hand, and he's like, "Okay, I'll come.
I'll stop murdering babies. That's good because I accept you.
I'll murder twice as many babies tomorrow just to make up for my quota." God.
I'm trying to bargain with the universe here. That's what I represent in the movie.
It was really, yeah. No, I like how they were very subtle about the subtext of what they stages of grief. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, was very she says to Hawkeye, "I will sacrifice anything to fix this world. Anything at all." Audience, keep that in mind.
I didn't have anything for the cause. This is my family. I would do anything for my family. I would do anything for my family, including dying for them by jumping off a cliff if I had to. Only if I had to, though. But yeah. So yeah, Hulk tries to do his time travel stuff, which like that's another thing that's good. We have a P joke in the movie, so that's also very good. A really good P joke at that, I must say. As far as P jokes,
it's well delivered, yeah.
It's well delivered, like because like there's like 3 different punchlines to it. He's like, somebody peed in my pants, and it's like
number 1.
I don't know if it's old me or baby me.
2.
Or just me. Which all of them get a laugh. Like, good job. I like that. And yeah, so he's trying to do it, and like Tony rolls up and like he's like, "Oh, I know exactly."
Real time travel.
Now that I've showed you my car commercial merchandising brand tie-in, I'll fix your time.
I was really hoping that the car would keep going towards Captain America.
And Steve just stands there too. He's like, oh.
They set up for time travel. They do a little test with Hawkeye, and he gets to see the test succeed with his fam. And he's like, and like with many other characters in the movie, he gets to look at his past and be like, "But I want to see them now."
Yeah.
Which, I mean, my thought process while watching that scene was, oh no, this could be a problem because it might mess with the future in a like little way. And I think in the scene after that, they start explaining time travel works a little differently than in Back to the Future.
So like, yeah, like let's get into that because that's the whole thing with the time travel.
It's weird because it's a very satisfying way to do time travel because you could have a little more freedom with how things do, and the consequences are more interesting because they don't have to be reversed.
Right.
And then they don't remain confusing because you just have to keep in mind it's a different timeline and weird things could happen in each of them because of that. And all three timelines, there's a point of interest of like, there's reason that I'd want to maybe go back to that and see what that universe is like now.
Right.
The counter to that though is there's until we get to the Thanos related stuff, there's a sense of there being less stakes than there could be in a typical compared to a typical time travel scenario.
That's fair. That's definitely fair.
Because they don't have to be careful not to mess up the future. They just have to succeed in their task.
Correct. That's a really good point. Because like I think most of us sort of like knew that time travel would probably be utilized even before.
It's either time travel or dimension hopping.
Like,
I don't think there's much otherwise.
They set it up with the Ant-Man franchise. They set up the time portal like, oh, like don't get near the quantum realm to avoid the time portal getting sucked in. So like time vortexes. So like it felt like it had been set up. It didn't feel like it was a cop out of nowhere. And I, for one, appreciate just how many movies that they name drop in order to like fully explain like this is a different theory of how time travel works because it does get confused. Like I can't recall another like piece of media really even acknowledging that there are like indeed different theories as to like the ripple effect, butterfly effect, whatever you want to call it, nature of time travel.
Right.
How it can work. So I like that. And like as a Back to the Future fan, I'm totally fine with them being like that it's all just nonsense what happens in Back to the Future. I think that's great.
But I like Back to the Future.
I know, but they referenced the almanac. They referenced Gray's sports almanac in the.
Well, they just don't bet on any sporting things.
What is hopefully the biggest movie of all time references Back to the Future Part 2, which I think is a win for me personally. So
Cinema wins. Write that down.
Cinema wins. Yeah, I love cinema. Cinema wins. But yeah, so they thoroughly explain that. I think they do a good job. But you are right in that there isn't necessarily as much in the way of stakes until we get to the Thanos stuff. Which, I mean, I guess that does give us a good gateway into just like addressing how they deal with the Thanos stuff in the second hour or Act 2 or whatever you want to call it. Because that I thought was one of, if not perhaps the most clever aspects of the movie. I thought how they're able to utilize the fact that Nebula is that her like memory is like splitting because like she's sharing the same signal, and that's how Thanos is able to piece together everything and figure out what the Avengers' plan was. Because I thought like while watching it, I'm thinking this is such a complex and potentially alienating and intricate way of having it happen, but it makes so much sense, and I feel like the audience, like my parents, were able to understand it, and the fact that then that was able to like come across that well.
Well, okay, this variation of time travel makes it so we could just send characters to different locations, and it's really not much different than if they were traveling to different locations in the modern day, just doing reconnaissance and trying to blend in.
Right.
You could just also add in humor based on the fact that it's the past.
Exactly. Yeah. No, definitely. I thought. But it was such a clever because they did need to bring in some stakes to that, and once you started getting into that, you were seeing that Thanos together. I thought was perfect with that. We get more Ebony Moss, less Squidward, which I'm all
for. There's a lot of characters in this movie I just did not expect to see.
I know, right? And he had a good deal of screen time in it as well. You think because
the whole 2 scenes, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was good stuff because like also like there's the whole thing in Infinity War that Thanos says like because you see Nebula says something like, oh, you should kill him when you had the chance, and he's like, it would have been a waste of parts. Her parts are so important to this whole story, extremely important now in retrospect. So that's pretty funny. Look at that. But yeah, so I dug that, and so all the time travel stuff. it's so great that we get to go back to all of the most iconic, beloved Marvel movies: the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor: The Dark World. I thought
Three favorites.
My 3 favorite movies, right? Like, I think everyone would agree.
I think they needed to have that just that quick moment of everyone being super bored by Dark Worlds, just so the filmmakers know that the audience knows that they know.
Except Ant-Man, who represents that one fan who's like, I think it's a great story.
But it's established. We don't like it either, but it's important, and it's like they make it work because they make me care about Thor's mom more than I ever did before she died or after she died until that point.
Isn't that nice that Thor's mom gets to be in a movie that doesn't have Thor's dad in it? Like, would you ever think that would happen? Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we didn't really have any like real. I mean, I guess I don't remember Thor: The Dark World well enough to say for sure, but I don't recall there being any like awesome scenes with Thor's mom. So, like, I'm glad that we got the rest. We rounded out his family.
Yeah,
because we've had quite a few sweet scenes with Odin, especially in Ragnarok. Loki, throughout all the movies, more so Ragnarok. But Dark World, he has a presence.
He throws the ball up and down. Remember when he did that? We'll show you that.
Yeah, actually, Loki had a good scene, I recall, with Thor's mom.
Yeah,
not Thor.
No, definitely. Loki had like the best scene. For sure, up to this.
It's been a while since I watched. You marathon pretty recently, right?
I didn't. I marathoned a good amount of them last year. This year, I was like, let's do the essential ones, and I could skip Thor: The Dark World, right? Because I don't need to have seen that. Well, whoopsies. But yeah, so I'm glad Natalie Portman got her little cameo. Syosset Pride went to my high school, so I'm happy for her.
Honestly, if I'm gonna be in Endgame for any like small role, I'm gonna want it to be the one where I'm attacked by the rabbit, the bear rabbit.
Isn't it so great that all the other Asgardians think he's a rabbit too? Did you catch that?
I was told after the fact, but like still.
I heard after, and then seeing it again, I was like, "Yep, they do indeed say it as they're running after." I love that. So okay,
they recognize what a Groot is, but but not what a raccoon is.
That is great. That Thor breaks down his mom. That like I totally am from the future. It's so nice, and that he's so understanding. Like we get to have like a level-headed time travel conversation. I'm just like, yeah, I know you're not my Thor. Which, like, I guess gives another reason for, like, his altered appearance. Although she also notices that the eye is different, so they could have just...
She notices the eye is different. She notices that he doesn't speak as though he's in a Shakespeare play anymore.
Yeah. It's like, you seem like you're written by this other poet that we have, Taika Waititi. Yeah. But, like, oh, God. So that's fun.
At a point in the movie, I was thinking, I wonder if they'll, like, go and grab... like duplicates of the Avengers from other dimensions or other timelines for the one big battle. Don't know how deeply that'll mess up the other timelines, but for this timeline,
so many movies this year have duplicate versions of the same characters. We got Endgame, we got Us, we got Lego Movie 2, the second part.
I just watched an episode of Naruto today where the characters get clones. It's like,
what a ripoff! I can't believe it. Jordan Peele needs to sue. This is ridiculous, but yeah. So that stuff is really resonating.
My voice in the other room. I gotta block that out so I don't get messed up. You were saying?
What's it? They're watching in the other room. That is hilarious. Okay. Yeah, like the fact that like Thor still like even at the point that they've time traveled back to 2014 is like, oh, my father has like a stash of beer or whatever. I thought that was maybe a little. Just come on at this point. I think that was when it was getting a little bit too far. Like, oh, he wants to get a drink. Well, like, okay, fine. And I could just smack him in the face, and that was good.
Went too far this time, Marvel. Going off to DC, where we take our movies seriously.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm getting really into the harsh criticism. I'm like, I'm not being a fanboy at all throughout this. I'm really angry at this movie.
I'm gonna say that I think that the New York sequence and everything going on in New York in the past, rather, for Avengers, is most of the strongest material, at least comedically, in the whole piece.
Yes, definitely. 100%.
It's just nonstop. You got You got Hulk on the stairs.
Page there. The funniest part is like, well, also of course there's the
payoff at the end
where it ends up like actually screwing things up. But the fact that they do cut to the shot briefly of just him on the stairs for like 2 seconds, like he hates stairs, I thought that was so funny. Great time.
3 awesome Captain America related scenes.
I know, right?
What? Did not expect that. We have Captain America versus Captain America. We have Captain America on the elevator, and Captain America's America's ass.
Yes. Oh my god.
Which is the best joke in the movie.
That's probably like I feel like that's gonna go down as the most quotable part, right? Like as far as I'm concerned, like, it's great.
I would not expect that to be Captain America being the core of like all my like best excitement in the movie, including of course like the big excitement in the big climactic battle.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. But he used to be good old anti-language, like yelling out language, but he curses a few times in the movie. He curses right before the title card, which is the big one.
Dun, 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 dun. Your heroes swear. Dun, 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 dun,
so I mean, I guess we'll do the elevator part because that happens first. But like, oh my god, like because you're thinking like this is a clever way to revisit an iconic moment from Winter Soldier without it literally them having gone back to that moment. Like,
the most memorable scene from that movie.
Oh yeah, like the standout scene, and like the Russo's first movie, so like their big first scene when, and they say like they've said this in interviews, it's like the turning point of the MCU.
And they say that that's the first scene that they filmed.
Yes, it was. It was the first scene that they filmed. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, this should have been the last scene that they filmed, but I
don't know if it was.
I don't know if it was. They said like when they were asked if like the last scene they filmed was like a full circle kind of thing. I think they said no, so it probably wasn't. But like, yeah. I love that they brought those other characters back too. Like it was such a clever way.
It did not go down the way you'd expect. It went down a better way.
Oh my god!
I remember my roommate Vincent reminded me of the fact that like Hail Hydra became like an infamous quote from that one comic a few years ago.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, with Cap saying it, and everyone was like, "How did it happen?" And like, so funny and clever, smart. I love that. What a great moment for Cap there. Yeah, it was so, and the cut was perfect too, because you were like, what is he doing? Like I don't know. And oh man, so unexpected, so brilliant. Loved it. And then Cap versus Cap, which is perfectly foreshadowed because not only did we have in Thor: The Dark World, seeing that Loki could specifically shapeshift into Captain America, they remind us before, like he turns into Captain America briefly, like Loki does.
They're shouting. I'm sorry. They're shouting about this, but go on.
That we see literally like just before in like the Battle of New York, like after
right, that he could transform and
then he transforms into Loki. Yes,
and then he gets.
Well, Tony's like, all right, let's all get out of our epic hero poses or whatever he says, which is hilarious. Like, because they just did their other icon. We saw the iconic pose in the battle, but also their iconic pose when they're going to, and they got Loki on like when they got him trapped. So I like that they make fun of that. But yeah, that's what a great.
I love seeing that behind the scenes kind of stuff. I mean, it's Back to the Future 2 again. Where you're revisiting things, but it's from a slightly different angle, so it's exciting.
Right, but like you're also getting a little bit more of the story that we didn't quite see. Like we didn't see this little.
No, that's exciting parts. But it's establishing, so it's important. It's important to this story because it's establishing, but it wouldn't have been important to the other stories because it's just nonsense.
Because they had to reason for why Loki would then serve for his crimes on Asgard as opposed to. So it's like, oh, this is like an interesting. Yeah, we didn't get to see this before.
With that same scene, there's that one guy with his face that wants to hold on to the Tesseract.
Robert Redford.
Right. And it's like, I'm curious as to how that went down in the actual timeline.
Right, yeah.
Because it gets away from him because the whole, first the reactor is messed up when it was still important. And then the Hulk comes down the stairs and there's all this madness and Loki gets away and shoots up to Disney Plus. And then like, I don't know what happened in the actual timeline to make it so that they were able to hold on to the Tesseract and just bloop back up to Asgard.
Yeah. It was also interesting because Thor, it definitely felt like he was acting like 2012 Thor, like just in terms of like how he was, like they didn't try to write him so he's retroactive what new Thor Ragnarok or whatever, which I thought was a nice touch. Because they were very much, not like getting back to Cap versus Cap, that like you saw like like him kind of like seeing like the cheesy nature of himself and how they like I could do this all day. Yeah, I know, so great.
He's grown up.
the fact that the other really funny thing that he uses Bucky's alive to his advantage to get the upper hand in the fight and distract his ass off. Love it.
Honestly, I don't know why I had in my head. It's like it'd be interesting if he said something that kind of had like a Martha kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And that's kind of basically what ended up happening.
Yeah. Well, they already kind of had a similar thing to Martha, similar to Cap and Bucky in Civil War, which came out around the same time as Batman v Superman. When he starts saying like a memory about like his mom, and then Falcon like says like right off the bat like, so like, are we just good now? Like, is that it? Which it seemed like it was a direct rebuttal to Batman v Superman. I don't know if it really could have been, but definitely people interpreted it as such. Which that's pretty great. So.
Is that the only time in this movie that we had hero versus hero action?
I think so, right? I mean, we have
little things,
out, but like other than that,
little moments, and then like one timeline Gamora versus another timeline Nebula.
Yeah,
briefly.
Yeah. Which one is like kind of acting sort of like evil at that point, so like it's not quite on the same level, but yeah. We got, and yeah, I mean, I guess to round out the New York stuff, then we just also have the like Hulk and Tilda Swinton Ancient One stuff, which
that's a cool segment.
It's a nice to get Mark Ruffalo's face into the movie very briefly for a little.
I mean, his face is like half there.
Yeah, but like his de-greenified face, if we're going by Wicked vocabulary, whatever, like so. And that was also, I think, a really clever illustration. I mean, very simple, but like that they showed like the branching timeline. And I was like, if you take them to stone, then like for anyone who's not getting how our theory of time travel works, like it's then going to branch off into then this darker timeline where I'm going to be screwed. Like, no, but then if we sort of take the stone back to the point in time where it was taken, it's one line. See, there we go. So
would we have had that scene if not for the fact that they needed to have Steve go back at the end? If they didn't have that idea and they didn't want Steve to go back and live his own life at the end, would we have had that establishing scene?
Oh, I mean, like, I feel like that's interesting. Like the Russos talk a lot about how, especially like if you listen to the Infinity War commentary, how they do like scenes that mean more than one thing. Right. Because I feel like that scene, of course, like at face value, like if you just take it at face value, is about just convincing her that. Right. Like that's the whole like drive of the scene, like as actors, what Ben is being trying to like got across to the characters, just to say like to convince you why I should then be able to take the stone. Which like Hulk also totally could have just made up that Doctor Strange willingly gave the stone to Thanos, but we'll ignore that and just assume that she trusts him. But it's also I like again like similar to with Thor's mom, it's interacting with another past character that we've seen that is like aware of time travel stuff, and like Strange is like over there like. He's not yet Doctor Strange. He hasn't gone through that point in his arc yet. So like, it's like cool to see like they're like having like a level-headed conversation that isn't just like, "Who are you, weird green man?" Like it's like different. It's cooler, subversive time travel.
I brought this up with my friends the other day. I said the other day, like a few hours ago. Actually, my friend did, but it was a thing in my mind for a little while. How did you react when you heard the Tilda Swinton? What's her name?
The Ancient One.
Ancient One. Her line of dialogue of "I made a mistake." Towards the end, after Bruce Banner says that Doctor Strange gave Tony the stone or gave Thanos the stone.
I think I know where you're going with this. I at first was worried. Does she mean that she made a mistake in like picking Doctor Strange to be the person?
Yeah,
because that's a lot,
I don't. That's a weird thing in that it's a misdirect, but it doesn't come across as something that's intentionally a misdirect. Yeah. I don't think that the idea was to mislead people because immediately after it's played fairly straight up like, no, here you go, I made a mistake, and not. I think it's just weird wording
because Doctor Strange, he's the best of all of us, Miles. So like he's I totally was thinking of that. So like if he did it Thanos, he had to have done it for. So I did that same thought crossed my mind though, so I was thinking about that.
Gosh, he should have led with that.
He should have led with that. Yeah, definitely. I think that's all the New York stuff.
Doctor
Right?
Strange sent us. It's like, okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. He was just gonna like, come on, Mark Ruffalo, you can't just take it. Like, what are you thinking? Like,
Well, please.
please,
I got.
I'm borrowing it. I promise.
I guess his concept is I have muscles now. Might as well use them.
Look at my face. Would this face lie to you? Yeah. God, I love it. But yeah, so I think that's most of the New York stuff. So like, if we can go to our Guardians of the Galaxy visit.
Boom, 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 boom. So
I
that
had just made my Twitter thread the other day after having rewatched Guardians of the Galaxy about how much I love that opening scene. So I was so happy to see that again. They built up to it. They had like
I was ecstatic
before that, and we had to wait a while before I was like, "Oh, are they going to show? Like, they better show it."
But they do.
And we hear almost like when in Infinity War, when you hear the Rubber Band Man from the Spinners start playing when Hulk is like calling Cap on like the burner phone, and then that introduces us into the Guardians. It starts playing while we're in Asgard, and I'm like, "Oh, here we go!" And then it shows it, and I'm like, "Now, like, I was hoping not only that they would do it, but they would also like cut to like extreme wide of like us not hearing the sound and him just singing," and they did that too. I was like, "Oh, yay, fan service!" Very happy to see it. But yeah, so that planet, which that also we got into like the Thanos knows stuff before, but like that's some fun stuff that we got.
I mean, that's what's starting to make things really tense because like you have a sense that like they'll figure out what to do with the stones.
Yeah.
But like what after that? Because it was moving relatively quickly. I didn't think that they were spending their entire time in the past.
Yeah.
So and we need our big giant battle at the end.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, I've accepted it. You know, I'll roll with it. Sometimes they make it really awesome. Sometimes it's just fine. But like either way, I'm rarely excited going into the battles. And I always have like a little twinge of like iffiness at the start. Typically, this movie is a slightly not entirely different story, but we'll roll into that later.
Yeah. No.
So Nebula and Rhodey were put together.
That's perfect. It's like we could read each other's minds because I was just going to get into that pairing and how,
which makes sense because that's where we just were. So talk about the pairing in the place that we were talking about makes sense as a logical next step in the transition in talking about the movie.
Take the compliment. Take the phone.
Okay, yes, sir. Right away.
I was going to lead into, even though it doesn't happen here, the fact that they have the thing about like that they're able to bond over that they're literally part machines, and like what is the line that he says later about how like alluding to that? I forgot.
We work with what we got.
We work with what we got. Yeah.
After she burns her hand and it's robotic, and she's like, "It wasn't always like this."
Yeah. I really like that parallel. That was nice because it showed that they thought about the thematics of like everyone being put together. Because it would seem like kind of like on the surface, like why these two? But that was really nice, I thought.
Yeah, I guess their concept is we don't need to do any particular growing with Nebula, so we don't need to put her with anyone in particular. So let's put her with the one person we also don't have plans for. Oh no, but it works out. It's okay.
Yeah, let's make it like a mirror type thing.
Yeah.
So like,
really, that exchange is really the only one that. Is there? Do they talk about anything else? I think it's really primarily just that. I'm fine with that because we quickly get to the Thanos stuff in that timeline.
Yeah, like I mean, they talk about like, whoa, don't just go into the temple because it'll be like the Temple of Doom. Like they don't literally say that, but like. And there isn't really much in the way of booby traps anyway, so I thought there'd be like.
How did Quill get the stone again?
He just danced in there.
The force field flame can't put your hands in there thing.
I forget what he did. Honestly, I don't remember it being a problem.
Neither do I, but it's been a while since I've watched. It
hasn't for me, so I don't really have an excuse. But like it wasn't enough an obstacle that it registered for me when I was watching it. So I don't know. Maybe just sound off in the comments if you know.
Anything else to? I mean, we could move into Thanos finding out. Nebula's like has some sort of like local connection with herself, which is cool.
Yeah, she forgot to turn on like that. Like her network is able to be viewed by other people in the area.
She could have turned off airplane mode. Turned on airplane mode rather.
Yeah, she should have turned spaceship mode actually.
There we go. It's space. So
yeah, that's cool. And they get the Pym particles, and then they can get Thanos back. Which like, are we meant to like think that then Thanos like didn't shrink his ship, and that's why he like comes huge through it? Like, whereas opposed to like when like the Avengers went through, they had like the tiny ship that then they use. So like that's why the ship is huge when it comes through the time portal, which I guess it can. Yeah, so like that makes sense. But like,
I didn't follow most of that, and I don't think I'm gonna.
Okay. Well, I was just noting how the Avengers go into the time machine, like yeah, let's just call it a time machine, with like the tiny shrunken down ship. But presumably, when Thanos comes back, well, not back, but forward to the future, he just has like a big ship. Like he doesn't bother to like shrink it down or anything because he doesn't care about blasting away whatever he comes through. So there's that. But yeah, like we'll save the Vormir for last.
Right.
We'll
that'll be an interesting one.
So
I'm paying full attention. I just need to complete this Venmo request for a Naruto game.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So that leaves
our side quest for Steve and Tony, right?
Yeah. So we're going to New Jersey, best place in town.
Hey, yep. Very good. Did it get cheers at your theater?
No, it probably doesn't help that we're in Boston. So
right. Yeah.
I'll be in Jersey eventually.
That's a little bit of a delayed reaction from the movie, but
that's what that is. So that's the place where the characters get to reminisce and chill, which is nice.
That scene is like for all the movie gently ribs Back to the Future. That is our Back to the Future part. Specifically, like the emotional resonance of the first movie of like Marty interacting with his parents. That's definitely what that feels like. It feels like Zemeckis-y, Spielberg-y in like all the right ways. Because
particularly like the end of Back to the Future 1 as well, which was just giving advice for the kid. Except you get a sense of the Back to the Future that helped.
Yep.
Actually, we can follow this timeline and find out if Howard Stark actually did ever so slightly better this time around. That could be interesting.
Well, what's nice is that similar to how when Marty comes back to when his parents were teenagers, when he's a teenager, Tony he's like at a similar age or similar point of life to his dad when he comes through, so he's able to understand him on a better, more intimate level than he ever really could before, and it's just really nice because it's not it doesn't become like an obstacle or anything. They're not trying to go for. I thought they were going to try to pull something like, oh wait, what do you got in that briefcase? Wait a minute, but it's just literally just for the emotional resonance, the closure that he gets with his father, which also it felt almost like kind of touching on the Civil War ending and like the tragic way that then he learned of what happened to his parents and how they were murdered by Bucky. Like he didn't try to rub in Steve's face like, oh, I got to then talk to my parent that your best friend killed over there or anything. But like it was nice that he got then that closure because it felt like a little bit of
or you could have tried to change that timeline by going, watch out for winter.
Yeah.
Bad luck season.
That's actually when Thor was leaving and he was like, wait a minute, I thought he was going to say, Mom, don't get killed. But he got his
That came to mind. He could have.
Yeah.
There's a weird thing in that universe where Thor's without Mjolnir.
Yeah. He's like, where did it go?
Oh, I miss it. But then maybe he goes through his Ragnarok transition then. But actually, he probably needs it to deal with the Dark Elves.
Oh no! Thor 2 is ruined! My favorite movie!
That's a big problem. Maybe that would have made the movie more interesting. The Dark World, not Endgame.
That's really I think so. That then takes us through our side. Oh, our last Stan Lee cameo, probably.
That's probably. Is that like the last is Asgard the last sequence in which Rocket has anything of substance to say for the rest of the movie?
Probably.
But I was a little upset by that. I went into the movie expecting Rocket in particular, especially after Guardians 2, to like be the most traumatized by the loss.
Yeah. Literally, Guardians 2 ends on the shot of him like overcome with the emotion of the friend that he lost at Yondu's funeral. So like that would have been appropriate. But yeah, like I guess it's accounted for just in the fact that he is like on the surface, the one that's there, along with Nebula, of course. But
I wanted more from both Rocket and Nebula, but I guess at the very least,
Nebula got a lot though. Nebula definitely got her due, as compared to her other movies, especially.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was happier. Yeah, definitely. At least with Rocket, we have a guarantee movie for him next phase.
Yeah, that's true. And he does get his reunion moment with Groot, which everyone went, "Oh yay!" in the battle. So he gets that. So that's good. Sorry, go ahead.
Volmir.
Mm-hmm. So,
do we have anything else to say about Jersey? Because I mean, it's fairly straightforward.
It's straightforward. Like I said, I dig it. It's all like the Back to the Future sugary sweetness that I totally eat up. I don't
think we even mentioned Peggy, but like that's the setup for the ending.
Peggy, that he sees her. Like, what would she have been able to see him through that window? Because like he was not trying to hide himself at all.
No, he had a hat on, right? I think.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. You can't recognize him.
He had a hat on. So we could calm down, right?
And people just assume like it can't be him. Yeah, we're fine. They had a cameo from Jarvis, who I hear was only in the Agent Carter TV show, so that's pretty cool.
I didn't know that till today, just a little earlier. Yeah,
that's nice. So then they're throwing the bone to the people who just are watching the TV shows. And it is really funny how he's like he hasn't picked the name for Tony yet, and like it's
he's kind of hoping it's a girl.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that his wife was expecting at that point, it reminded me of there was a deleted concept for Back to the Future Part 2. I think this is confirmed that like at one Marty was going to maybe accidentally prevent his own like conception. I think like not like literally, but like at risk of.
I thought you meant literally. I'm like,
yeah, like something you know what I mean. But like I don't know exactly if there's a script out there for it, but like that he would have like messed them up like on the night they were. I don't know what it was that they had them doing. I think it might have been like to do with Woodstock or something. You could look it up. Yeah, something about the nostalgia old people things. I don't know.
Old people ruin everything.
We're just
we could have had our scene.
All right, so Vormir or Bormir, as people tend to call it sometimes.
Have you actually heard that before?
I have heard that. Yeah.
Interesting. A lot of great.
Not that they think it's boring, but just
all of Infinity War is awesome for the Vormir stuff.
That's not a criticism. People just say it because it sounds like it.
Okay.
It's really cool with Infinity War that they use the same music and everything. But yeah, okay. Go ahead.
So in this scene, we meet back up with our best friend Red Skull, and
it would be Red Skull, by the way, because they built up it for a second, like of him in the cloak and stuff, and it was like, well, they're not showing his face. Is it maybe a different character? Oh, it's Red Skull.
I think that his face ruins the like excitement, the cool, ghoulish nature of him in this state. Just a little, not too much, but like enough that like just cool guy in cloak is enough.
Well, think about this: like him revealing his red face. Like when Cap inevitably has to go back to return the stones, he has to go see his old friend Red Skull again.
Look at that Marvel short; it'll be funny.
Which like he's definitely doing his spiel, like, "Oh, hello, welcome, Steve Rock." Steve Rock, hey, you what? What are you doing here?
Can he actually like be like, no? How do you put back the Soul Stone?
You just be like, here you go, Red Skull. Here you go.
Oh, thank you.
Let me grab that. Let me grab that because the last time I grabbed the stone worked out really well for me.
He shoots back up, and then he shoots back up to Disney Plus.
he zooms up to Disney Plus. Everyone's goes to Disney Plus. Yeah. Oh, God. But yeah. Okay. So we've delayed it as long as possible. The Hawkeye and Black Widow. So thank God that two people went that do indeed love each other enough to give each other.
Yeah, that's quite convenient, but I'm cool with it. I realize now that I've been looking at the live stream top chat instead of live chat, so I might have missed some epic messages. No, I didn't. No, no one's talking. No worries. Sorry, I got distracted there. So, I mean, both of them put very good reasons for why they should heckin' die, and we lose Black Widow. I almost said Scarlet again, but I mean, it works. How do you feel on that?
So, okay, loaded discusussion. I really like for starters, I thought it would be Hawkeye again. Like as I said earlier, they faked me out that like they would be killing him off. He got his slow-mo jump off the cliff. I was like, all right, that's it, it's done. And then she grabs him. I'm like, wait, what? Then it's probably going to be her then now because then. So they do. So this is the thing again, because like it directly like emulates like the framing, the shot choice, the pacing, the music of how it went down in Infinity War. And it's interesting because it's like if we're looking at it, because that directly makes us parallel Gamora and her, and the different circumstances by which each of them went out. Because Gamora obviously is very tragic in that, like no one wanted to see Thanos be able to successfully kill. Gamora was one of the people that we wanted to see be able to actually kill Thanos. So that was then so upsetting and sad that that's how it happened. But with Scarlett Johansson, Scarlet Witch, messed me up again. With Black Widow,
maybe get rid of one of the characters. Oh dear.
They were both dead at that point too. So watch your mouth. So yeah, the fact that then it's her, like, it's her choice. This is perfect. Like as they say, it's her. This was her family. She doesn't have anyone else then to contact. This was the job, and this was what she want. Like, there's even a small chance of bringing everyone back. We owe it to everyone in this room to try. She went out on her own terms, and like it's acknowledged by Clinton that it should have been me, and like at the risk of I do not want to be the one mansplaining fridging to anybody, but like of course like there's the whole notion of like is this then just, and the argument can be made for both Gamora and Black Widow that like their deaths exist to further the arc of a male character, and I could understand both of them for those reasons. Whether you say it's to further Thanos' arc with Gamora or Peter Quill's arc or whatever, but obviously in the case of Black Widow, it's for Hawkeye. But I think the more compelling way of looking at the parallel isn't so much Gamora and Black Widow as the film would necessarily like initially have you thinking, but later they have specifically Scarlet Witch and Clint talk to each other about their respective loved ones that sacrifice themselves for each other. So in that sense, you could have like the idea of like the gender, because Vision like laid down his life for her. And so in that sense, you could have then the notion of the gender equality in terms of male character sacrifice for female and vice versa. So you can look at it in that way, but so there's going to be a lot of opinions on the subject, but yeah, that's sort of like, so it's interesting. I think the fact that, but like above all, the fact that it was out, she went out on her own terms. You thought like, Clint was really upset about it, and that it's like, he did indeed like feel like it should have been him. It wasn't just like him saying that. He truly felt that sentiment, and you felt like his crying at it did feel then very much genuine. Like I thought it worked, and it was really surprising and shocking because I didn't think it would be her. I didn't think she would die. I thought she'd be safe. But yeah, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Going upon initial viewing,
yes,
Gamora really worked for me, and Black Widow didn't.
Interesting.
And the how they did worked with Black Widow in this movie is honestly, at least without any further reflection, because my thoughts kind of changed since then.
Yeah,
it was the only thing coming out of the movie that I was like, I didn't really like that, and I really like their decision there. I think it's solely down to me feeling like she didn't have enough time in this movie or Infinity War.
Yeah.
That like I feel like she did not have her time to shine enough so to warrant losing her. And I really, really like her character.
Me too.
I'd be fine with what they did with her, because same went with Gamora, because I really like Gamora, but I felt like she had a really, really strong last few films where she especially Guardians 2 and Infinity War as well.
With Guardians, the first one, you could argue like she's just sort of there, but Guardians 2, she's arguably like the MVP.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
And Infinity War, she's great. So yeah.
I'm not feeling good about losing Black Widow at this point.
Yeah, no,
She's on her own terms, and I like that, and that gives it, in a way, a one-up over the Gamora scene. But like the Gamora scene has so much fantastic build-up, and it, yeah, you could, I agree in that it's gendered, in that it does help make the male protagonist villain of the movie more depth. Yeah.
Yeah, if Infinity War is Thanos' hero's journey, like in a sense, as the Russos like talk about it.
There's a balance, right? Because in one movie, the character is thrown off a cliff, and the other one gets to make the decision herself. But I feel like on the flip side, Gamora's loss had a lot more narrative build up and significance than Black Widow's did. Because even after Black Widow, we lost her. We had a good scene involving losing her.
Mm-hmm.
But then we lose that for the rest of the movie, and I'm like,
yeah,
it's tough, because the more I think about it, the more okay I am with it, but it's still the part of the movie that I feel just if you gave her a few more scenes, mm-hmm. I just think she needed a stronger send off outside of that final scene, because she did have a good back and forth with Hawkeye, and this is what she wanted. She wanted to give everything to fix this world, which is a good culmination for her overall arc. Mm-hmm. In that she started off being so what's not I was gonna say mind controlled, but like programmed to
brainwashed.
Programmed by this program that needed to make soldiers, and she's able to repent, so to speak, for past misdeeds, and she really did come into her own, and was able to make a lot of these amazing decisions and help out the world and become a part of the Avengers and do all these amazing things. But just in terms of being a character, that I experienced the growth alongside, because we did miss a lot of that early stuff that I'm referring to. Mm-hmm. I want to see more of her before we lost her.
Yeah.
And then there's we never got official confirmation that there's going to be a Black Widow movie, but like word around town is that that's been a thing in progress. Mm-hmm. We don't know for sure though. So like that's
something that takes place during the 5-year gap during which she's prominent, seemingly, with the Avengers. Like probably just an origin movie. That's what I was thinking.
But I keep pitching to everyone I talk to is stick with me here.
Okay.
The Soul Stone Chronicles. Ooh. It's a buddy cop movie of Black Widow and Gamora taking on the world, and if they succeed, they could escape the Soul Stone.
That is great. I love it.
The only tricky thing there is that Gamora, we already have a new Gamora, so it's like that might get confusing.
But is she still around though? That's the thing. Was she snapped away by Tony Snap, or what? Like that's the big question.
I was based on conversations I've had since then. I was under the assumption that yes, she's still around, but I guess Peter Quill was searching for her at the end, and he wasn't getting much of a signal. But that might be because she's not in the area, or she's a different Gamora from a different timeline. Might not have the exact same energy signature or GP. There might be something a little off there. But
that's probably the plot of Guardians 3, right?
The plot of Guardians 3, and I remember I was bringing this up last night. Plot of Guardians 3 is what I thought Toy Story 4 was going to be.
Yeah. Looking for Bo Peep and like her knowledge.
Looking for Bo Peep and potentially running into a different Bo Peep, which is the same brand.
Yeah.
And having to deal with those difficult emotions of this is the person who I fell in love with, except not. And I mean, Good Place has done that by this point as well.
Yeah. They're setting out looking for her as opposed to just like stumbling across her as that's what it's going to be now with this rewrite of Twitch Report. But yeah, presumably. Yeah, no, you laid it out really well. Black Widow, like, part of it also could be like the pairing between her and Hawkeye really works for this movie, I think, and they had like stuff with it before, like they call back to the Budapest thing from Avengers, like briefly as well, like to like really be pushing like, oh, this pairing, like, you know, it's good. I like the interplay between her and Cap. I gotta say, I love that the Russos gave us one more really good scene of just those two characters talking together. Because of course, we had all the stuff in Winter Soldier, which is so great between them. We have that scene in Civil War where they're at Peggy's funeral and she shows up and like just during the rewatch. I just love this so much that she's there, like, and she doesn't come just to be like about like signing the accords because he's like you knew I wouldn't sign them, like, so why'd you come? Like, because like you needed a friend. So they have such a good friendship, and
I see more of it, but
I'm glad that Endgame gave us that scene of like after then she has her Skype call with all the other like surviving Avenger people. Like they talk. And, I'd make you a sandwich, but I don't want to make you even more miserable. Like that whole scene is just great. I love those two. So like I don't know if like if they were together or something. I don't know. Like
quick pause because we got a comment from Michael saying, I'm catching up and just got to the part when you complain about Thor wanting to get a drink in the past before seeing his mom. Yeah. I saw that as more of him procrastinating and being nervous about her. And that was your rant. If you want to address that.
Okay. I mean, if that's the case, then I like look. Even if that's not the intent, that's my headcanon now because I like that a lot better. Like
I think I'd see it more as the way that Michael put it anyway. So
yeah, okay. I like that then. It's interesting that Michael said it because I feel like he's more anti a lot of the things that were said about Thor that were done with Thor in this movie. But
yeah, I know you, Michael, and Sam were chatting about it, but I only was able to skim through the thoughts. Right. I'm not fully caught up on what everyone.
I had no idea what you thought until this stream. This is what this is about.
I don't even think I was able to. Maybe we should have covered that at the very beginning to like lay down the groundwork because I'm in a weird position right now with Endgame in that I see it as a really great movie and really enjoyed it, but I don't find myself resonating with it as much as I have with other Marvel movies, and I'm not quite sure why. I think some of it is like not necessarily predictability, but like I feel like it went through the motions I generally expected of the movie, outside of like just how awesome a lot of the time travel stuff was. Yeah, and I in a sense I was kind of hoping that this live stream would help enlighten me, but I'm still like I keep complimenting the movie and I don't have much stuff to thumbs down.
That's the thing. Like I loved it. Like I'm not sure. Like when it comes to like, of course, like part of me like after leaving it has like the feeling of like, which is inevitable of just is best Marvel movie, like so good. Like of course, and like I need time for it to register for me to really then have that understanding. But like that's the thing. Like thinking through it, like I don't really have negatives to say, and not only do I not really have negatives to say, I kind of got to see everything that I wanted to see with this movie. I got like the endings for like. For Cap and for Tony and stuff that I was craving, and like a lot of like even things just like I said before, Pepper in the suit, like calling back for Iron Man 3. Also, the kid from Iron Man 3 is at Tony's funeral at the end, grown up.
Right. Yeah,
I looked that up. I didn't recognize that.
It took me a while to piece together who that'd be, but I was like,
figure it out without looking it up because that's.
I took a guess that it'd be him because I couldn't think of anyone else that would be like that age that would be a part of Tony's life.
Right.
That's someone that was like easily recognizable from Avengers. So I was thinking Iron Man, and it's like, okay, well there was a kid at a point.
I appreciate that as an Iron Man 3 stan. I like to see that, so that's good. But yeah, like I can't really. Hopefully, we'll help you like either parse together what it was that maybe holds it back over the course of the rest of this, or just maybe have you change your mind and think it's great. A lot of people that seem to have some reservations seem to say after the second time it really like cements it as like even better. Or like,
okay, so yeah, maybe that's all I really need. I think it's not so much me disliking things in the movie that holds it back for me. It's more of a like me saying I like this to a ton of things without saying I love this to a ton of things.
Right. Something you were saying before, like about the first hour, was that you liked a lot of what was like done with like the characters just sort of dealing with the the consequences of the snap, but like you were surprised at how it was then like how much the movie was.
How much of the sullen tone and atmosphere we got from the movie before jumping into action, which made sense for how crazy their situation was. How
That second viewing probably would help that, because then now you know.
Yeah. The expectations were set. But like, I think it's just a lot of things. Like they introduce Professor Hulk, and I'm like, I like this. It's interesting. Nothing about it made me go, this is the craziest fun thing ever. They introduced depressed Thor, and I'm like, yes, I like this. I don't love it, but I like this.
Okay.
I do. I really like the Tony stuff. It generally goes in the direction that I expect. It doesn't really do all that much that resonates with me per se, except for the ending, where this is the biggest spoiler, I guess, for those who have been watching this long. So Tony dies at the end.
Tony dies.
And like from the moment Doctor Strange was like, he was pointing up the one finger, like, this is the time.
I love that.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is the part where Tony dies, and I was moving into cry territory, like even before he said, "I am Iron Man." And then I think I was just emotionally out of it for like a good 10 minutes after that point. I was just like, I was sobbing. I was kind of out of it. It was just this weird experience that I had where like I still had tears falling down my face. And we're getting back to the point where we can make jokes again, and the audience was laughing. I'm like, still not being able to create words. But yeah, even that, I think it's a weird thing where like I expected it to happen, and it did roughly what I expected, even to that in a more specific degree. That like I wouldn't say it resonated with me as much as I was like, this is done in an effective manner that I like, without me saying I love this, and that I guess that bothers me because I like so much without loving so much. I could say that I love the New York time travel section.
Right.
Maybe I just need more comedy. Maybe that's just a transition I've went through over just the last few years. Because I feel like if this was me watching the movie just a few years ago, and I got to see how angsty the characters got to be for the first hour, I would have been like, "This is the coolest singer," and I like it still. I do like it,
right.
But like now, in my mind's like, bring on the Ragnarok. Like maybe I just need more fun. Because that's what the New York section is.
We went through a similar transition of wanting the angst and being like, okay, like have the angst but balance it. Like I think in terms of like content, definitely. It's I mean, like we'll go through like all the battle and everything that happens with that. But like Tony, we're getting to it. Tony died. The first thing also, since we brought up that like I love the image of Doctor Strange holding up the one finger.
Yeah, fantastic.
Like you know, like he doesn't want to tell Tony like that, like if this is indeed the one timeline out of the 14 million plus that they would in fact win, and because that could potentially ruin it. And he like the fact that he does that, like you know, like it was brought up. It's not like a contradiction that he does hold up the one finger, but like what he didn't want to say is like yes, and like explain like, oh, like Tony, you have to sacrifice yourself or whatever, because that could have him like question it or have like some reservations or hesitations, like do I want to leave my daughter without a father?
And that might ruin the moment in itself.
Right. So, but this was like the one finger, like that's probably what happens in the timeline that he's
thinking of. Yeah, Tony just needs a reminder that he needs to be in an active position.
Yes, and like I feel like I got a sense of it in Benedict Cumberbatch's performance at that moment, that he's like he knows like I'm gonna give him this little one last push here, like his hand is like shaking, like oh my god, like this is it. So yeah, I love that. But yeah, Tony, like I didn't like so like I love it. Like this I can say I love that because that he's fighting Thanos, and that Thanos is able to, like he does the set with the I am inevitable. And then his tones aren't there. I think is such a great fake out. Such a great fake out. Because it totally scared me. Tony has, like, again, cheering. And then the I am... Amazingly, I didn't think, like, oh, I am Iron Man is, of course, what he's going to say. Because, like, there's just...
The moment he said the word I filled in the rest. But, like, before that, yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. Like, I did expect, for example, like, the snap, like, there being like a little jokey joke there right after he tangled with Iron Man. I was just like, okay, this isn't gonna work, and Tony's gonna have it. But like, it's the execution. It's hearing "I am Iron Man" that makes all the difference.
Because Iron Man is like, what is it? Like at the end of Iron Man, he says I am Iron Man. At the end of Iron Man 3, he says I am Iron Man, and not technically at the end of this, he says I am Iron Man. So, yes, I love the callback, and yeah, the Pepper gets to tell him that like you can finally rest. It's like he gets his closure with Spider-Man. He gets to see like I really didn't think that they would be able to both live to the point that he sees that he came back to life and that he's able to give him a hug, and the theater was so happy about that reunion, and that like he sees that he's like he won this, and it's then you get the reversal of then now like Tony had to say goodbye to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man has to say goodbye to Tony, and yeah, that he gets to share this moment with Pepper, that they really do let it like be brought back to Iron Man 1. Of course, we have the proof that Tony Stark has a heart thing called back to at the funeral, and Happy is there. The daughter talks about the cheeseburgers, which like that's the first thing that he wanted after he got out of the cave was a cheeseburger, so perfect. And that, like, also just, but the imagery of the light going out in his chest is when I knew for sure, like, okay, he is definitely, like, for real dead. Like, this is, like, a permanent death. Because I was, like, are they going to do the Avengers thing again? Where, like, Hulk just goes, roar, and Tony's like, whoa, hey, guys, I'm okay. Like, once the light went out, I was like, we have not, like, they haven't done this. Like, this is it. And then it faded, and like you could tell because you could hear like the crying and stuff. Like, but like you could tell once it faded, everyone was like, "Oh, it is okay. This is for real." Like, yeah, he is. Oh no. So yeah, I need like.
This might tie us back to where we left off on the timeline before we jump ahead. Do you feel that Nebula has grown any more over the course of this movie, or do you feel like without the start of this movie up until the point where she talks to Gamora, that it would have been any different if she just skipped there as a character? Does that make sense?
Like when she talks to Gamora about how like she doesn't need to be this for Thanos, and that's like,
yeah. Do you think that she because she definitely doesn't grow at any point after that? I'm just curious if you think that whether or not Nebula is static or dynamic over this movie.
That is a really good question. Honestly, like, I feel like she probably would have acted in a pretty similar way, like without.
Similar way. I mean, it's Guardians of the Galaxy 2 stuff, but I guess really the only point in time where she would have growth is like with Tony being accepted with the Avengers group. Really, I mean, it's been 5 years though.
Yeah.
So I mean, probably a lot more than just the hangout with Tony.
I think her faithfulness in like being able to like try to then get in contact with Rhodey of like with Thanos knows and stuff. Like I don't think she would have been quite at that level like in previous movies, but like specifically that scene, I think she probably would have. Mm-hmm. She would have been trying to reason with her sister. Yeah,
it's a really really cool pass off because we have Gamora learning a lot through Guardians 1, the first half of 2. Yeah. She passes on this familial bond with Nebula, and Nebula gets to pass it back to her in a different time.
Yeah, no, that's true. You know, that you put it in a really nice way. Yeah, I like that. I did. This did make me think. Like having said the "I am inevitable" thing again. This would have totally like they should have just let this moment play as a serious moment. But the part when when Thanos is looking at like the shared memory through of Nebula of when he gets like his head cut off, and he's saying "I am inevitable" back then, like in the future. I thought it would have been so funny if like this past Thanos was also lip syncing to as if he had like practiced and rehearsed this for years, his pretentious little one-liners that he would say like, "Yes, this is my destiny. Yes," and then I say, "Yeah, oh, I crushed it. Yeah, perfect." Like,
he's definitely more zippy with the monologue / one-liners in this movie than in Infinity War. But I guess they have to like condense his character so he still has the same presence, but in a shorter amount of time.
Right, which brings us into like what do you think about how like because Thanos isn't the main character of this movie. Arguably, this movie has like I don't even know who necessarily is the main character of this movie.
It's Tony and Cap.
It's Tony and Cap. Yeah, like it has to be right. But like, Thanos like I could totally see the argument for and understand the concern for before the movie happened of that. It was like are they going to just simplify him and like reduce him into like just another one of these like world destroying, like torturing villains, whatever? But like, I don't think that's what they did. I think that they did a really good job at slowly inching him towards, because like they had like the original Thanos guy with the convention of, he has like this like crazy weapon that then he's like, it's just temptation. That's what it is. So like I did what I needed to accomplish, and now I've destroyed the stones, and that's it. Like I got done what I need to get done. And even when Pat is looking at the fact he gets his head chopped off, he isn't like, what? I'm angry. But he's just like, this is part of that is destiny fulfilled. Like
it's weird that I assumed that he was going to hold on to the stones so that if the world became too overly populated again, he would redo the snap.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he could have that, but I guess he was just thinking, well, I won't live that long anyway, so it's out of
Yes, he used the stones. He can live that long.
But if he uses the stones again, doesn't that like make like him even weaker? So that like maybe then trying to make himself live longer will then also kill him. I don't know. It's a whole rabbit hole, a Rocket Raccoon hole.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole confusing thing in itself that I tried to piece together. Tony Stark, he dies.
Yeah,
but they still have the Infinity Stones.
Mm-hmm.
Could someone who wouldn't die via using the gauntlets or and the stones, could they have brought Tony back? Could they have brought others back?
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's
you can't bring Black Widow and Gamora back because Soul Stone's very specific.
Right.
What about everyone else?
Right. Well, what was nice is that they they addressed with Black Widow like Banner's like, I tried to bring her back. Which, I mean I love that, like, just as a quick aside, I love that they continue the iconography of the Thanos snap. That it just because that's not necessarily even like I kind of had just taken it as, I don't know if it's like in the comics elsewhere, of like that's just sort of Thanos' way of being like, because he says like with a simple snap of my fingers I can get rid of half the universe. Like that isn't necessarily like this is how you use the stones. It's just sort of his like janky way that he figured out, like, well, this is how I'm going to manifest their power in like a an accessible manner. So
I
like,
guess that's how you use the stones in unison, perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I like that they continue that iconography. But yeah, like he can't bring back Black Widow because the Soul Stone. It's like you can't undo it. It's not like, as Rocket says, like some people are fully dead, some people are kind of dead. But like I guess it's like one could say it's like, well, you could bring back anyone who was killed with the Infinity Gauntlet only, and not anyone else. It's hard to say. Like why not bring back Tony? Because it's the fulfillment of his character arc, and you shouldn't be brought back for that reason.
Yeah.
So, like I guess that's why. But the real reason.
Yeah, just a little in-world explanation goes a long way, I guess. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I think like what was it? So yeah, with Thanos, like the fact that then you get him to the point of like, oh well, no, like this, like everyone is going to be, even if I wipe out half the universe, it isn't going to be like these other planets where like they've then prospered since. Like this stubborn, annoying little planet is then going to then try to then not be satisfied and bring back everyone and mess up my plan. So I'm going to reduce it to a single atom, and then you're all going to be gone, and then no one will know what once was. So they'll be grateful and prosperous and productive and what. I thought that I didn't think it was a retcon. I thought that worked. I thought that was good. Did you like that?
Yeah, no, I was totally fine with it. Because his goal is to seek out the root of a problem, and right. He was reworked to find this doesn't. My initial ideology doesn't work because X, Y, and Z. Yes. How do I handle X, Y, and Z?
Exactly. Yeah, the problem changed. It wasn't trying to be like, well, actually, I wanted to wipe out everybody, but the gauntlet only lets you do a maximum of 50%. So that's why
right. Like, I think a lot of if I'm going to complain about that, it's what it comes down to is it makes sense for his character to switch to that mindset. Mm-hmm. It's just that his mindset becomes something a little bit more typical and cliched. Like, right. I'm going to wipe out the heroes so that I could establish this new mentality and new world order.
Sure, but yeah, like that totally, that would be the argument against it. But for me, it completely works.
Right, because it makes sense for the situation.
Right.
Because I mean, the only alternative is I'm going to wipe out half the population again, but I'm also going to make sure to wipe out you guys.
Yeah.
But now he knows that there will be others.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. All right, so I mean, like the battle overall, like oh my god. Where to even begin with all that? Like I guess like let's just get right into Cap wielding the hammer because heck yes.
Yeah, I would have been disappointed if that never happened. So
That's the thing. I would have been disappointed if it never happened, but I wasn't specifically anticipating it in this movie. I had just kind of forgotten about it at this point. Like watching Age of Ultron again, I was like, oh yeah, like they like hinted at it that like Cap moved it a little bit and that like maybe he is worthy and Thor like noticed it, but I never thought they would continue to pay it off. I thought the payoff was just Vision picked it up and then that's that and that's all right. That's all we were gonna do with that. But no, like, oh my god. So like the movie gave me like everything I wanted to see, even stuff I forgot about that's what I was gonna say. Like that's one of the biggest cheer moments, both the times I went. Like people went, yeah, like
that is what's competition for that? The biggest.
Tony doing the snap also is a pretty big cheer.
Yeah, I'm too busy crying to cheer for that one.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. Like because I don't think it necessarily fully registered with everybody that it would indeed kill him, even though they said how like life threatening the snap could be, and that's why Hulk did the other one. But yeah, like oh my god, the fact that they were able to get everybody, even non-comic readers, to like really like be so excited that this other character that doesn't normally hold the hammer is now holding a hammer, like that just a testament to what Marvel's
exciting. He's worthy. Though I mean, I've seen a lot of nitpicks around like, why can he use lightning with the hammer? Shouldn't that be like isn't the hammer like a utility for like Thor to like focus in his lightning powers?
Yes.
It's like
they completely say that. They've said that before. Yeah.
So it's fun though. I can forget that.
What I like, I've seen the theory that like as to why Cap was worthy now was first I've heard some people say that like like maybe he actually could have picked it up in Ultron, but he didn't want to embarrass Thor. But what I really I don't agree with that.
Nah.
What I really like is the theory that he is worthy after he finally confesses to Tony that he knew about Bucky killing his parents. I like that headcanon. I think that's so like that he had like the one thing he was holding back, that like the guilt is on, and that his conscience is clear. His conscience is clear. I think that's I like that. That's my headcanon for it. But yeah, it's awesome. I loved it. It was great.
So yeah, I guess that means that we talked earlier. There's one timeline now where Thor doesn't have a hammer.
Yeah,
and it seems that Cap left the hammer behind in the past, assumedly.
Yeah, presumably, yeah.
So now there's going to be one timeline where there's one, and one where there's 0, and one where there's 2.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. I mean, but
one day Thor like reaches for his hammer, and like 2 of them come over and collide. Why there are 2 hammers?
Is that how it works? Because like if we equate the hammer with the stones that were taken away, it's not like there's other stones that are there too. So he like when he brings it back, it is just going to be the one hammer brought back to the point in time that it was taken, right? Or am I?
There's allowed to be more than one hammer. Like he doesn't have to. He doesn't need to bring the hammer back to the right place.
Right, but assuming that he treated it the same way.
Yeah, he knowing him, you're probably right. He probably left it with the Asgard altered universe.
Yeah,
because he's doing the right thing and doesn't want things to be fun for me.
Until he does and decides to get a life. Yeah,
which is super sweet. Going into that final battle, I'll say,
yes,
I have never ever experienced a moment in a movie. This is before. This is right as Thanos brings in his whole gang.
Yeah.
When and after he gets Cap down. I don't think I've ever experienced in a movie such an incredible feeling of how the heck, watch my language.
Language.
Do they deal with this threat? How is that possible?
Yeah.
And but it's like Captain America versus a bigger army we've ever seen in the Marvel universes. And then they bring in everyone, and it's pretty awesome.
And they hint at before because like we get the call from Clint's wife beforehand, so it's like.
Right. So we know that it worked to an extent, probably, unless it's a prank call, which I doubt.
Yeah, but we get our trio of Avengers having their then face off, which is great in and of itself. But then you hear on your left. Such a great Winter Soldier callback. And then the first people to come out, Black Panther and his crew, which, like, I wonder if they always were, or if they did that after Black Panther was, like, the best movie ever and got Best Picture and stuff. But, like, oh, God. Like, so great. And they all assemble, and then Cap redundantly says Avengers assemble finally for the first time, which, like, it's redundant, but it doesn't matter because it's epic and awesome. And yeah, then a huge dang battle starts, and it's glorious. It really is. Like, I've seen people be like, its only competitor is Ready Player One in terms of all the pop culture properties.
I was thinking about that during the movie.
You were thinking about that? I wasn't like.
But except one movie, you know, it feels like it's earned it. So
yeah, which would you say is better, Justin? Do you think it's close?
I didn't see Ready Player One, so I don't think it's fair for me to say.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This I wouldn't even put them in the same category. Jeez.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah, Ready Player
One. Movies.
Yeah, this is a great climax. Everyone's here. It's like the Smash Brothers thing. Everyone's here.
Brian doesn't even know what video games are. It's funny.
It's funny. Haha, XD. So yeah, what is it? Yeah, all the peeps sew up. Spider-Man sews up, and everybody's cheering. And Valkyrie sews up on her big Pegasus, and it's awesome. And, yeah.
She's not. She doesn't ride in while kissing Captain Marvel on the Pegasus like I expected. But
it appears behind them. Yeah. And Korg says, "Gay rights, man." Yeah.
Gosh, Korg would say that.
He would say it.
I could hear it. I could hear it. That's great. I love it. We did get our
That was the revolution he wanted to start, but he didn't have enough pamphlets. So
yeah. He and Mika have been together for a long while.
Yeah.
So we got I'm trying to think of like specifics within the fight. I think one of the most memorable sections is when we get the full female squad together.
Oh.
I would have been fine if that went on even longer because it's like
longer. It's very much. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say just because the guy spotlight is pretty specific for a very long time.
Yeah.
Like they could have their own movie by this point, so maybe that's the next step.
It was very much of the same vein of the part in Infinity War where they have all
but bigger.
But bigger, more women this time. Yeah, that's right. Sorry we killed Black Widow. Here's all the women. Yeah. So.
Gosh, I'm still sad about Black Widow.
Yeah.
I'm not depressed like I am with Tony Stark. I'm still sad.
No, but depressed is the stage of grief that Thor represents. You're getting it all mixed up, Justin. Okay. Join me.
Oh, right. Endgame. Right.
So, yeah, there's so many different moments in the battle. Yeah, since you said that, it's the Scarlet Witch part, which took everything from me. I don't even know who you are. You will. So good. I love it.
Which that's kind of like Guardians 1, where Ronan's basically saying that to Drax.
Yeah. Of course. Well, if you bring up Guardians in that context, you have to bring up who? Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, man.
Star-Lord.
Which that moment probably didn't happen in one of those alt realities now.
No!
Big loss.
Big loss. Yeah. Oh, well. Well, what's it? Like, yeah, now he's even more of a who. Because, like, who knows what he even accomplished in that timeline at that point. But yeah, like, she would have, like, Scarlet Witch would have taken him down if Thanos wasn't like, just aim the ship at us. But our troops, I don't care. I'm a really bad villain at this point. I'm so evil. Kill my people, is what he said. Like, definitely don't root for me anymore, toxic fanboys, is what he said. So,
time.
Yeah. And then Cappy Marv shows up and, like, oh, this was something I was thinking about bringing up in the beginning, but forgot. And now, almost like 2.5 hours later, I'll say,
yeah.
Happy Marv's doesn't like save the day and isn't like a big Deus Ex Machina, and like that's cool by me because he only just showed up in the last movie, and that shouldn't be the best.
She's not super well integrated into the universe yet, so I'm excited for her to like lead in whatever Avengers spinoff there is when it's not really Avengers anymore.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it's appropriate for this movie, the amount of screen.
You have the part when Tony literally says like, "She's great. We need this young fresh blood," or whatever. He says something like
Funny that's before the time jump.
It's subtle because it's like they're saying other stuff and like he's like being confrontational in that part. But yeah, like
Did you hear I'm not sure if it's confirmed or a rumor, but like something about Brie Larson stating that like she didn't know she was Captain Marvel when filming Endgame.
it was so I don't know how much that was, I heard that interview. Like it would definitely she showed up to set and I don't know to what exactly she knew. She knew that like I think she was like filming like. So, like, maybe it was like a Marvel project or whatever. Like, I mean, at a certain point, she must have known that, like, you know,
right.
Marvel. Like, I think she
a lot of it's CGI. So,
but she talked about getting onto set and seeing everyone else there and being like, oh, okay. So, like,
yeah,
you know, she must have figured it out when she's talking about whatever character.
Maybe she was told a few times, but she just forgot.
Yeah. I mean, it's
didn't realize.
Like,
it's not a big deal.
And it's a great rationale why she hasn't helped before. Like, there are a lot of other planets that need your help, and they weren't lucky enough to have you guys. And they even have it. I like another really subtle detail I love is that later, after the 5-year time jump, when they're all talking on the Skype call, and Rocket tries to like poke fun at her again, and like, oh, you're gonna get another haircut. Like, no, like everything that's happening at the snap is happening like thousands of other places. And Rocket's like, yeah, that's a good point. It just gave the sense of like there were echoes, like they've kind of been having the same conversation over and over again, and over the course of these 5 years because they haven't really been able to fully move on, and these tensions do flare up whenever then they do like talk again. Like I like that a lot. But yeah, that like Cabby Marv's like they do like she gets her due for having just come into this universe so recently, and she is like I mean she's the last like person really like fighting Thanos before Tony comes up. That's pretty good for someone who came just so recently. And like Thanos would have like had a successful snap if she didn't stop him. Like he was really close. She saved us, so that's not something to be overlooked. Yeah, so I'm trying to think if there was anything else in the battle. Like, I wish Black Panther, I wish T'Challa held the gauntlet a little bit longer when he was running through. Spider-Man had a good long bit with it. I feel like he had it twice as long as Black Panther, but you know, it was still good. I cheered when it was like, give it to me. Like, yeah, like, I like the idea spot.
We aren't ignoring him completely. Yes,
I'm ignoring him completely. He has this little important thing. Oh, when they show Wakanda at night later, so good. I love it.
That's fantastic. Did Shurian have any dialogue? I expected Okoye to be a big part of the movie, and she really wasn't.
Yeah, she really was. And, like, I get it, because, like, she didn't really have any established relationship with any of the other surviving characters that they were, like, dealing with, so, like, I get it.
She had funny lines in the Wakanda fight in Infinity War. That counts, right?
That's true.
She had funny lines.
Why wasn't I lampshading this all this time? Yeah, that's what she said, right? Yeah.
Wait, that's the one I was thinking of. Is that her only line?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah. But no, yeah, that's a good point. Let's see. Was there like I mean, just the whole battle, like the battle in and of it. So I think we hit on a lot of like the key moments of it. Was there anything else? Like, we had like the hot potato match, the hot potato game.
Throw the gauntlet across. Spidey's awesome as always.
Yeah. The Captain Marvel had such a good moment with him. Like, you got something for me? I love that. That was so good. Bree is great.
Like
Haters. I'm not even getting into it.
Like flashing down from space and just stomping on my face and flying away. Like, oh my gosh.
What did you do? You'd be fine with her stomping on your face?
Well, it's not that I'm fine with it, but I could imagine her flying down from space, stomping my face into the ground, and just flying away. And I'm like, yeah, one day.
For me, I'm fine with it. I'm more than fine with it. So
okay, I'll invite her.
Okay.
she'll be joining the live stream shortly to stomp.
All right, very good.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, like, anything else with the battle that we really wanted to touch on before we get into epiloguing about?
I mean, we earlier we hit on a lot of the Tony stuff. I guess there's not much more there. I mean, I will say I was kind of getting into this a little bit earlier, but like, okay, so I had that incredible excitement when everyone started coming in, and that incredible dread right before that of like how threats but the moment like we had everyone, I got all that excitement out of the way of everyone's here. My next thought was, okay, so now we're doing a big battle. And like I have this mental hesitation of like, do I get excited or do I not get excited? How long is this gonna last? And is the action gonna be like good enough for me to sit through action? Because I really enjoy action when it's like just a few characters 1-on-1 or like 3-on-1 for like the Thanos battle right before that.
Yeah.
That's a good battle. The best battles are like Civil War, where you could really, really exhibit everyone's powers, but like in a smaller environment, not just against a bunch of random aliens. The airport battle in Civil War, or the Titan battle in Infinity War. That's a big standout for me. I'd say this one stacks like upper middle. Like it's not that as long as I would think it would be. I think it's like it's just the right amount of time. I don't think too much of it action-wise stands out to me, but it's an appropriate length, which is rare.
Okay, yeah, because we definitely both have like the unpopular opinion of like being like potentially anti-action if it's not like interesting or like the main thing for I think both of us, if I could say, is just that we don't want to lose sight of the characters in it, and this definitely doesn't. Even though there's so many, and I could definitely get the concern. For me, I didn't even. I'll be honest. I didn't even have any reservation with it because I was just like, it's amazing. So many people like because it wasn't just that they all showed up. It's that like we got to see they all came back and they're alive, and now they're here to reintroduce themselves, and we're getting our little reunions. We're getting our Tony Peter reunion. We're getting our Rocket Group reunion. We're getting all these different things like and it's all these character moments. It's Scarlet Witch like acknowledging that Thanos killed Vision.
That's one of the best moments in the movie.
It's Tony and Doctor Strange like talking about like that this is the right timeline. And like we still like it's not just mindless like fighting just for whatever. Like it is all still character. So like that's what I think like above just it being like a glorious hodgepodge of everybody being it's the combined facts of it's the payoff of seeing everybody come back. It's the payoff of seeing certain things like Pepper in the rescue suit that you never thought you would maybe see. And the like paying off just like character arcs and reunions. So yeah, really, really works for me. So yeah, so we got all that. I guess then what's left is I mean we touched on the Tony epilogue stuff. Do you think, I mean, like, are we going to get, like, anyone taking up the mantle? Because, like, if you hear after did you say after the credits for the post-credit scene? Yeah. You know what that is, right? You know
building a suit.
It's the same sounds of when Tony was building the suit at the beginning of Iron Man, so it's full circle. But does it mean that Tony's alive? Question mark.
No.
Yeah. There's going to be people trying to say that. Or does it mean that someone else is building an Iron Man suit, which is more plausible, but I think it's just the full circle thing.
It's a full circle thing. I am very happy with putting Iron Man away until his daughter is old enough for the mantle.
Right. I like because they literally show the daughter have the Iron Man suit earlier. So it does like, you know. Oh, I also just the one other thing from the battle that they have Spider-Man activate instant kill. Such a good callback. Something that you didn't even know was set up in Homecoming. That's great.
Or maybe they put in the Iron Man 3 kid because it's going to be him in a few years. I don't know.
It could be. You know, like I think that, like what the Russos have said was they didn't try to like put in anything. Like they weren't thinking about what was coming up before. They were just thinking about tying up everything across the 22 movies. Which is why it makes a lot of sense that they literally go into some of these other movies. And it feels like it makes it feel more cohesive. But yes, we got the Tony epilogue stuff. We kind of touched on the Thor stuff. Thor passing the Asgard over to Valkyrie. That's a big deal. The new Asgard is really cool too. I like that. I don't know if we.
I don't. Yeah, it's a weird thing where it's like, if Thor passed on Asgard to someone when Asgard was this giant golden capital, it would have been like wild. And now it feels so small scale. It's like, yeah, I'll let you have ownership on my farm, sure.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's interesting. Like Loki has been fighting for that throne forever, and now like it doesn't really hold as much weight. So,
but now they got like I guess they didn't get half the Asgardians back because they didn't die with the snap, right? So never mind.
Right. They're in Loki, Gamora, Heimdall, Vision territory.
I really tried to bring all of the unnamed Asgardians back, but I couldn't. Well, but Valkyrie hopefully will return.
Valkyrie and Captain Marvel movie. I keep saying that, but like I feel like it's not I think I said it before I had any outside influence telling me that that could be a thing, but now I'm hearing other people say it too. So I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. It's great.
the actors all saying it, and like that wonderful comic of Thor being like, he's like thinking in his mind, I like this one because he would be a good match for Valkyrie and all that. Like this,
Totally.
I dig it. Have it happen. But yeah, so they have that, and then I mean like Hawkeye's reunited with his family has like the talk bonding with Scarlet Witch, which we already addressed too. And but yeah, I guess that leaves Cap, right? It leaves Cap.
It's Cap. He goes back in time, and then he comes. He returns to our time, and he's like, "What? Okay, time for the next mission."
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm back. That's right. I fooled everybody on Twitter. Captain America is here to stay. XD.
Rip.
So here's the like. Do you think? Did he tell Bucky that he was going to do this?
I don't think he knew.
Bucky just knew he was just able to figure it out without being told, or do you think he told Bucky that he was going to stay in the past?
No, I was gonna say I don't think Steve knew going in that he was gonna stay there.
I agree. I think Steve figured it because the way he says it, it's like, well, I put all the stones back, and I was saying I get one of those lives Tony was telling me to get. But Bucky seemed like he figured it out, like when it was happening, and that he was saying goodbye to him, even though he would come back in 5 seconds. Like and then he tells Saint like go up to him. He knew, I think. He knew his best friend that well. And they call back to their goodbye lines from First Avenger. It would have been really nice if we saw like their like proper reunion. Like,
see them kiss goodbye, you know.
Well, that would be. But like, like when it comes to that whole dynamic, like it is like I feel like the Captain America trilogy kind of like tied up all like the loose ends with that, like as important as they were, especially Winter Soldier and Civil War, like they kind of did everything with them that they could. So it makes sense that then he passes the torch to Sam, I think. By the way, the way that they did the CG for Chris Evans' face, my God, like you would think the concern would be that like people are gonna. I think maybe there were like 1 or 2 chuckles the first time I saw it. The second time, like everyone just took their face that like that's how good the technology is, and the voice is done well too. It sounds like him, but it does sound older.
Did you see that coming?
That he would come back and be that old?
Yeah.
Or, I definitely was going into this movie thinking, because I knew that probably time jumping, time travel of some kind he dealt with. I was thinking he's got to go back and he's got to have his last dance with Peggy. That really it's got to happen.
Okay, I didn't think it that far ahead of time. I'm thinking like more like around the time he was time traveling.
When he was time traveling back, I did think that he wouldn't come back. But what they did get me with was going over to the bench and seeing that he's sitting there old. Like I wasn't expecting that. But that's perfect.
But you want to talk about like what people are calling a plot hole there, and that like how did he get there to that bench without like jumping back to that the actual quantum realm portal?
Yeah,
I don't know.
The thing that people have said, like I've seen the theory that like he always actually was Peggy's wife, because we never Peggy's wife, Peggy's husband, that because we never saw who she actually ended up marrying, and like it was kept a secret somehow. Like I don't really know like if that's like viable at all, but like yeah, no, that's a good point. But I think I dig the imagery of him just like sitting over there and like he like catches up to them and talk. I love that kind of thing in Back to the Future, like when at the end of part 2, where then there's the guy that comes from Western Union right after all those many years with the letter from Tom. I have a bet going on about if anyone's going to be here named Marty McFly, pick up this letter. It looks like I lost. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
I'll accept it because it's a great scene. All these scenes are great scenes.
They're great scenes.
What's wrong with me?
By the way, the second viewing, the lights went up while Cap was still talking to Sam, and I was like, "What?" And it was amazing because you could totally see that everyone was crying. Now the lights were on. And then they got the lights back. They got the lights back off right as the credits started, and everyone laughed and was like, "Yeah, okay, great, yeah." You did it.
Good job, team.
Yeah, good job. But yeah, it's perfect. They you know,
Great
people,
credit sequence.
Captain America gives the shield over to Disney Plus, and you know, Disney Plus really earned.
So do they? I would assume that Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the Loki spinoff are post Endgame,
Yeah, I guess they can be. Yeah, like.
but WandaVision.
Didn't she say something about how it has the flair of like the 1960s or 50s or something, like the aesthetic? Like that's what
Yeah. So
Elizabeth Olsen said, portrayer of.
yeah,
So
something
I
like
don't know
that.
if that means it's back there. I don't know how that works. I don't know.
Do they rebuild Vision without the Mind Stone, or do they have it be like the time leading up to Infinity War when they're like just on the run together?
I don't know. I think that was what I had thought initially, because that would be a nice gap to fill of how we went from her like being like, you know, like escaping from Vision in Civil War to like that they did end up having their romantic relationship, and that it works over the course of the years that they've been trying. So that would be nice to fill in that gap. I don't know. All I could say is that WandaVision is a great title. I love that title.
It's an interesting one. It's definitely. I'm stoked for Loki's spinoff just because it's like now we have setup for it, and we know that he could just go on some wacky adventures.
Mm-hmm.
He has a Tesseract; he can do whatever he wants, unless that's just the pilot, and then he gets like stranded somewhere. He gets stranded with the Grand Master in that timeline.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of fun. That's definitely what's gonna happen. I'm okay with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm okay with Scarlet Witch and Vision. I don't know if I'm as excited for those two concepts as I am for Loki. Loki, I just have always loved as a character. I guess he could win me over with the other two, though.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm excited for Disney Plus. Come.
It's giving me everything I want. I get to have a Forky show.
The Forky show. Yeah, which, you know, after. Because Woody's not coming back, Forky's the new main character. I mean, we'll see if Woody comes back. Stefani's. Or if anybody does.
Or unless Woody stays the main character.
Yeah. We'll definitely.
Follow Woody Adventures without the rest of it. That'd be sad.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
It would make sense for the series, but.
Oh, man. But yeah. I mean, that's like. Like, I think we've covered all the plots. But, like, we went in good old basic YouTube reviewery chronological order, but I think it was warranted for this movie just to like refresh it. We want to like remember everything that happened, recount everything that happened, but like, you know, like overall looking at like, do you feel like you have more of a sense of what like held you back from like maybe like loving it as much as like you possibly could have, or maybe like do you feel like you're getting more to that point? Like, what do you think?
I think I'm liking it more than I initially did. I think it's just. It's it's a little bit, not entirely because it has its own issues, but it's a bit of the Spider-Man Homecoming effect where I went into it really thinking that this could be my new fave thing ever, and like enjoying it, but not like outright loving it. And the fact that I didn't reach that want of it being the perfect thing took it down a little extra than I would otherwise. Granted, I actually have my issues with Homecoming, and I have the Black Widow thing here, but that's a small part.
That was the main thing you really said through all this. Yeah,
that's a small thing compared to the whole. I should be extra excited because I mentioned I did the betting with 3 other people. Who lives, who dies. I tied for first place.
Really?
Yeah.
So, what was how did that go down?
On the whole, like we put together a list of. Firstly, we did a list of undusted, where we said who lives, who dies on that list, and then we had a dusted list of. Most of us assumed that the dusted characters would come back by the end of this movie. Like we instilled the rule of if one character from the dusted list comes back, the list is in action. So if someone wanted to say only Spider-Man comes back for some reason. Then they probably win because everyone else didn't come back and survive. But it only took one to activate that list.
Who lives, who dies is a story.
I had on my list that Iron Man and Captain America would both die, and my thought process was maybe they would die in a big teamwork collision, big finale to really follow up their Civil War thing. Which the complete opposite happened, where Captain America was kind of just forgiving him right away, and Tony also didn't take too long.
Right.
What did I have? I also had like a Bruce Banner Hulk mix in mind. I put down that Bruce Banner dies and Hulk lives. When really they kind of merged, so we as a group decided that that counts for both of them surviving. Obviously, I did not say that Black Widow dies.
Right. Yeah, that was really a surprise. Yeah.
I said that Nebula dies. My thought process being maybe she goes out trying to defeat Thanos, and she could be the big hero in the end based on everything she's been through.
Especially given the existence of a Guardians 3, I felt if Gamora would maybe not like come back or like into the equation at all, but like you can't kill Nebula too.
We agreed that we're counting Gamora as having survived because of the new one, even though she might not still be there. We're not positive.
That's fair.
But none of us voted for Gamora being alive by the end of the movie. And I also had the other thing I had off was I had Thanos living at the end of the movie. I thought that like maybe he'd be like trapped in like an eternity cell, or like not that like he would redeem himself because he could not redeem himself, but like he works with them and he kind of like escapes in some way at the end, but we know that he's not really going to cause issues going forward. But it makes sense what the movie did with him.
Yeah.
I think I got like a -6 overall.
Okay.
I think it was there's 1 -6, 1 -6, 1 -10, 1 -12, because Ryder just kind of went all willy-nilly on who survives on the dusted list. And I'm like, okay, you do you.
Right. So, did you count as Loki having survived technically or not on the list?
No, because he's not in our timeline.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
As much as I wanted him to survive.
No, he's dead. Just leave him dead. That's it. No more resurrections this time. He already had fake death sequences. Leave him be. But yeah. Right. Well, I mean, was there anything else Endgame related that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, I could go. I guess not much that I'm gonna be super dedicated about, but like, how was it gonna do box office wise? I think that this movie has an issue in that it's harder for people to recommend this movie for a non-super fan compared to Avatar or Titanic.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're definitely right. And there is like, I think this will be especially front-loaded because the thing about Avatar, the infamous thing about it is that it doesn't have like a huge opening weekend by any means. It's like 70 million range, and it just had crazy word of mouth. And they also brought it back with like their little extended edition that added some more scenes that I think got added into the box office base. But that's a little extra thing in addition to, of course, the 3D technology bringing it in. And that's the whole other advantage that it had, that it's introducing that innovation. But yeah, but it's unprecedented how well it's currently doing, and I'm rooting for it to hit the billion worldwide this weekend. And was I thinking that it necessarily would? I wasn't sure because a lot of people were really reserved about that, and they were reserved about it getting 300 million domestically, and now it's supposed to be like potentially over that much, unless it's like a drop after Friday, like because like just like on like with because they take the Thursday previews totals and they add that to Friday, so it works. Which it had for the record, it had the biggest Thursday night previews ever, but like they've only been doing that for like about it like half a decade at this point. Like so, I don't know. Like I hope like I think my prediction has been, and it continues to be, that it'll dethrone not Avatar. It'll dethrone Titanic, but it won't make it to Avatar.
I don't think anything can beat Avatar.
Yeah, I'd love if it did. But you know, as much as it would hurt James Cameron to have a crummy non-James Cameron movie wedged in between his 2 movies, where he has the top 2 movies of all time grossing. I mean, like it earns it. Like, but like Avatar, like I think you had said this at a certain point. There was just less like content platforms back then. Like,
Right.
yeah, there's so much.
Everyone, you could jump on Netflix, Hulu, whatever for if you want your entertainment now. Like that wasn't a thing 11 years ago.
Right. It's,
Actually, that's the Marvel number. I think Avatar was 10 years ago, right?
Avatar was 2009.
Right, so 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that I wasn't
Marvel
using that.
was 2008 is when it started, so it's pretty close.
Force Awakens is the one that's come the closest so far, right?
Yes. So if we throw it to the list, and like unadjusted for inflation, of course, because that's how we do it here on good
Can we get
old
Michael on here?
usually. Yeah, I mean that would be good for box office analysis. Michael, if you want to jump in for this,
If he's still watching.
do so. If he's
That's
still
all right. I think he wrote in. He was a little behind.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh, well, then sorry about that then. Yeah, it's the Avatar 2.787 billion. Titanic not even close. This is 2.187 billion. So also in the 87. I think that's interesting. Star Wars Force Awakens made it over 2 billion. Infinity War made over 2 billion. No other movie other than those four are over 2 billion. So,
Force Awakens was in a good spot because it's a fandom movie, but it's the start of a new realm of the film. And it had the buildup of all those previous movies. That chat. The buildup of all those previous movies. But at the same time, like you're still able to invite people to watch who might have thought, oh, it's kind of a nerdy thing. I don't know. But people gave it a chance back then. I think if you're gonna give Avengers a chance, you would have done it by now. There's no new incentive especially because like it's not Infinity War where it's like a new conflict. It's the same conflict we've dealt with before. So it's going to be a turnoff for people who aren't already invested.
You'd think that, but then it's like multiplying by 2 or 3 like records for like pre-sales and stuff that were set by Infinity War just last year. So I don't know. Like it's
the people who were brought in by Infinity War last time. You said yourself, it's gonna be front loaded. At least
Yeah, that's true too.
It's not gonna be detrimentally so, but it's gonna be at least a little front loaded.
Yeah.
So that's just the trickiness of it.
I was just saying the other day, or the good old days when Toy Story 3 was like the 6th highest grossing film worldwide or so, because that was a pre-Avengers world. It wasn't a pre-MCU world, but it was a pre-Avengers and pre-Star Wars Return world. So now there's and the $1 Billion Club was even more exclusive back then. So
well, here's hoping that the Lion King remake could really take the Avatar throne.
Okay.
What else is coming out this year?
Toy Story 4, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 4, Toy Story 4. Frozen 2, Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Did I cover all the Disney movies? Maleficent 2, Aladdin.
Artemis Fowl. That's from Disney.
Oh yeah, I read the first book.
I read it. I remember being kind of bored.
There's a part in the first book where like one of the fairies goes to like Disneyland Paris or something, so that's interesting.
I wish I had any recollection. I definitely read it in like late middle school.
I had it as like a read aloud in like a summer program like that one. That was good times. Yeah, I don't know. Like what other movies? I'm totally blanking.
Wicked comes out this year, Brian.
No, it doesn't. Haven't they already said that it's not this year, or is it?
That is this year. Damn it.
Or maybe I don't know.
Wicked movie. I'm looking up. Officially coming to theaters 2021.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
We're getting another Terminator that like James Cameron promises this time is going to be good this time because it has our good old friend Sarah Connor finally.
2 X-Men movies.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, one of Apocalypse. That's so funny, by the way. I got 2 trailers for Apocalypse in a row.
You mean firstly, Dark Phoenix,
yeah.
and secondly, so did I.
Yeah, because in IMAX they did their IMAX trailer, and then they did their regular trailer. the footage.
More than half of the footage was from previous movies.
Oh my god! So it wasn't just my theater. Oh god! So it wasn't just my theater.
Yeah, no, I went to IMAX. So yeah,
It was an IMAX. Oh, that's great then. Oh boy! But like the other one, isn't the other X-Men movie like the horror-esque one, like not officially on the slate now, like or what? Like
I thought it was. I don't know.
it was, but then now like with Disney buying Fox, they might just drop it on Disney Plus.
Okay, stick with me here. Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie.
Oh yeah, can't wait. Wow. Detective Pikachu. I take your Sonic and raise you Detective Pikachu, which we'll all see.
That I'm excited about.
Yeah. So we got that to look forward to, and yeah. What else? There's other things. Oh well, Spidey Man Far From Home, which like I guess like
not Disney technically.
Not Disney technically, which I guess he's gonna have to deal with the fact that he was held back for 5 years, and Ned.
I mean, but it seems like his two close friends and his bully were also snapped. I heard word. I don't know if this was confirmed, but I heard word that Aunt May survived the snap. So if that's the case, that's where you bring in that drama.
That also explains how her and Happy seem to have a thing going on, because that would have started during the snap.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't like. Are we meant to think that Ned went away with the snap? Because I felt like the part when like he was like
5 years older to you.
That's true, but like the fact that then he went over and like gave him that hug, like as if it was like you're fine.
I think it's more of a thing of Spidey has been dealing with this alien invasion thing, and Ned is worried.
Yeah, I mean, because it would be interesting if it was like his like other classmates were like, yeah, like we're we're older now, but let's go on this field trip together. I guess have some fun because we're not going to be in classes together. You know, I don't know. We'll see. Well, like I mean, again, with Homecoming, we both had our underwhelmed, even though there wasn't any. Well, other than the fact that there wasn't really anything in the way of like, consequences or stakes. There wasn't anything that we really
right. That's the main issue because it's Spider-Man, which is a character who's known for his great consequences, and granted, you don't have to do that, but like it felt light on consequences to begin with.
Yeah,
and the fact that Spidey doesn't help that.
Yeah. Personal high school.
It's a movie about like Peter Parker having to learn that like it's worth putting the superhero stuff on holds,
right? And
to embrace his childhood and the day-to-day life and the day-to-day heroing. But I didn't get really a sense of him learning that lesson either before the end.
Yeah,
like a lot of it thematically fell flat for me. But like Tom Holland's Spider-Man is a great character.
Yeah,
Tony Stark is my favorite MCU character, and he was in that one. So it's a movie that I thought could be my new favorite Marvel movie. Didn't happen, but I wish it was. It's weird because the other two movies that came out that year keep rising in my Marvel rankings.
Yeah, Guardians 2 and Thor Ragnarok.
Guardians 2 was a little rough on when it first came out, but the more I watch it, the more I love it. Same. And Ragnarok, I have in like my top 3 now. Like I adore it every second of it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I guess.
Rankings list. We could bring that up. Do you have a sense of where Endgame lies compared to other Marvel movies?
I have something of a rankings, an incomplete one that I would have to update with a bunch of stuff. But like,
I have an updated one where I have Endgame in there, but I still need to figure it out.
I mean, in a sense, of course, it's always arbitrary, and this like there's so many different, so many movies. But like right off the bat, I could definitely say like I have like the normie opinions of what the worst ones are, like Incredible, Iron Man 2, Thor: The Dark World. Like those are all like floating near the bottom. But near the top, like all the Russo movies, all the Russo directed movies, I really enjoy. Black Panther, definitely.
Yeah.
The Guardians movies, both of them. And I really like Iron Man 3.
Iron Man is lower for me over time. It's a weird one because I feel like a lot of people bag on it for just very weird reasons. I think thematically it's an incredibly strong movie still.
Yeah.
I do find it to be a less engaging movie.
They've evolved past it now. Is like the main thing.
Yeah, it's a tougher one. I find myself getting a little bored throughout the movie, which doesn't happen with many Marvel movies. But like Tony's story in that movie, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, that's at this point probably on the which I mean at the point like at the time I saw it I really loved it, but I guess that's shown how the MCU's grown at this point. That's probably on the lower end of the ones that I just mentioned as being the really good ones. Other than that, I'm trying to think if I skipped any other one that I really enjoy. I don't think so. I think those are the ones that I really then.
Out of the ones that you mentioned, I'd say, and
Ragnarok. I really
right. Iron Man 3 isn't even that low for me. It's like it's a little lower than like halfway through the list for me. Winter Soldier, I'm also a little back and forth on. Okay. I'm not the most engaged throughout that one. I like the concept of it. It just doesn't grab me as much as a lot of other Marvel movies. That one's also like around the middle.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's like by far the best. Like I wouldn't say it's like the hands down.
Yeah, I think if the Bucky stuff really grabs you in that movie, it's gonna win you over. It doesn't grab me as much.
Cap and Black Widow though, I gotta love it.
Yeah, they're great too.
And the elevator, a lot of great stuff. But
for me, I have like Winter Soldier on the list, and then right above that Iron Man, and then right above that Endgame.
Oh yeah, well the original Iron Man is really good.
Yeah, it's
I mean the original Iron Man and the original Avengers, both of them, I feel like. Well, I definitely do enjoy and appreciate both of them. I don't think I'm as hot on them as like a lot of other people tend to be. I mean, the part with the cave part in Iron Man is amazing. The rest of it, I don't think is as good. And Avengers, like, I mean, Battle of New York, of course, has a lot of great stuff, and there's still like, and a lot of great like verbal sparring and some of the best like one-liners and memorable quotes. Right. But like it feels like they've evolved past that since Civil War is just so good. When it comes to being.
Yeah, Civil War is still my top of the list with Ragnarok as a close second.
Yeah,
and then Black Panther, Guardians, Avengers. I was gonna say, out of 22 movies at this point, I have Endgame as my 8th place, which is still pretty awesome for a franchise that I love.
Yeah, I can't really say quite yet. It's somewhere in the upper echelon.
Yeah, I'm gonna be reworking this list plenty. I have a ton of rankings lists that are just not.
I'm happy for the Russos with their directing roots from Community. They're paying homage to. I'm happy about it. Like,
we got 4 in there, but also plus Donald Glover and Spidey.
Donald Glover. It wasn't the Russo movie, but we got Donald Glover.
Close enough.
So we can get everyone. We're slowly bringing everyone together. That's the real Avengers assemble. That's building up over the course of the MCU. The whole study table. Yeah.
I feel like we can get Jeff in there, but can we get Pierce in there? I don't know. That one's tougher, I think.
Get him on use a hologram again. Like yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah,
that's how you. Sure, I'm down. And Britta and Annie.
And Frankie and Elroy. And
well, we'll get there.
Well, everybody. I want everybody. Magnitude.
Anyone's ever sat at that table.
Yes. Cool.
Sure.
And Leonard. R.I.P.
Rip Thor the Dark World. Well, now Thor the Dark World's the best movie ever because of Endgame.
Rip Thor the Dark World. Yeah.
What do we know is coming up next with Marvel? We know for a fact Spidey and Guardians 3, and that's it.
We know about what's the movie called? The Eternals or something? It has Kumail Nanjiani in it.
But I feel like I think that's at like Black Widow level, where like talking town is that's happening. Same with Black Panther 2 and Doctor Strange 2, and there's one other I forgot his name. It's like Shang-Chi.
Something like that, yeah. I love the interviews about a potential Black Panther 2. Like, I'm dead. We're not ready for you to be dead, but I am, though. I'm dead. Have you seen those videos?
No, I haven't. I can imagine it pretty clearly.
Yeah. You just said, he needs his money. He's got to get his money. He has to say. He has to do the song and dance. He's dead. He committed to it.
I'm glad. Also, is it possible, and by that I mean I think it's quite possible that Scarlett Johansson didn't know for a fact that Black Widow was dying in this movie?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I would be under the assumption, at least, that she and Jeremy Renner were both aware that it could happen and that there's a decent chance that one or the other would be going.
They filmed alternative things. They had fake scripts, or at least script segments. I mean, like, my dad thought, like, when the Cap was going back in time at the end, that maybe he would bring back Natasha somehow. That's not what happened. So maybe they could have filmed an alternative version where that happens, and then it's a fake ending that they have on the books. So you never know.
Or an older Natasha.
Older.
I don't know what the purpose of that would be.
Yeah.
It'd be for the audience, not for... Yeah. Because she has nothing to resolve with the people that she didn't know, and it'd be awkward if they said goodbye to her as though she was the other Black Widow.
Yeah.
So that'd be silly.
Yeah. Who are you guys? Yeah. You're the ones the Cap told me about. I guess. I mean, sure.
And I feel like, if anything, that would just burn people more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather. But yeah.
Good old Endgame.
Well, finally we're done with that. Done dodging spoilers for months.
Yeah, it felt so good to have that. After because I knew all these spoilers for a very long time, of course, and I had contractually with the Russo brothers, I couldn't talk about it. So I realized like there's a big weight lifted off my chest,
Okay, I gotta catch up on what D's writing. Iron Man is the worst. OG Spider-Man trilogy for the win. Did Black Widow have powers?
She can shoot her gun.
Pew pew.
Pew pew. She's really good at it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Russos gave her that. Ow. Everything about Black Widow is just ow.
Ow, indeed.
I can't even really talk about Tiffany in the same way I could talk about Black Widow, because that's not as much of an ow as it is like depression under the surface. And it's just too soon to just talk out and think about that. I wasn't exactly like that with Loki, but like, Loki was up there too. Loki. But like, again, Loki had his time to shine. So even him dying at the beginning of Infinity War, I felt like he had his thing and went through a very thorough arc before the death.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Black Widow, I needed more. Needed more.
Time in Civil War or Infinity War or like Endgame, like up to that point, like she'd been doing well, but like if they had like more of an arc to her there or like leading up to it, that's a good point.
All right, I'm thinking that we call it a night on the stream after a good solid 3 hours, and we could chill out a little bit more if you feel like it, if you want to. But we'll let the audience chill out.
Yeah, because we definitely I wasn't necessarily anticipating it going this long. It's got to be some sort of a record, even for me, for how long it's gone. But it was probably the longest movie I've talked about. Want to talk about it in detail. Want to talk about with the
we did a Justice League, if you will. That's what we're talking about, right?
It's already made more than Justice League, I think.
I wouldn't be surprised. But Justice League, I don't know, big blockbuster. I don't know. I would think it'd take a good 2 weeks to beat that, but that's just a guess. I suppose I know.
657.9 million worldwide, and Endgame currently has made. On Wikipedia it says 643 million, which it could be more than that by now, and it will be. It will be more than that very shortly. Yeah. So.
All right, call it a day, bro, dog. I was told going into this movie that Hulk was gonna dab by a friend. Didn't happen.
Yes, he did. He dabbed.
What?
He did. You missed it. You missed the best scene. Did you go to the bathroom? There's no good time to go to the bathroom.
Seriously, did he do it for the fans or something? Or are you just kidding?
For the fan, he did it for the kids. He did it for the kids.
Yeah,
he did.
I missed it.
Wait, are you serious?
I guess I didn't realize.
Oh, I thought you were making a joke. No, he dabbed. And he said dab when he dabbed.
How did I guess I looked away for a moment.
I've been laughing. There was no Justin. Fortnite 69 noob dabbing.
I remember the Fortnite part, but the dabbing part didn't.
Oh, it was epic! I can't believe you missed it. The best scene. Way better
All right.
than with the hammer.
All right, guys. Brian and I are about to rewatch Endgame. We're gonna go out right now, and we're gonna make sure we catch the dab parts because apparently I don't have enough focus.
We'll redo
Losing
the
my
whole
focus.
thing. Sorry, guys. That's why Justin didn't love the movie. He missed the dab.
Honestly, that sounds fantastic. That would have helped win me over, I suppose.
Oh wow. All right.
A goof.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to what's pretty much a commentary track that you can put over Endgame. Not specific to scenes, but long enough, probably.
Yeah, no, it just that is. Yeah, maybe just a little extra long.
All right. Well, sorry about that.
Sorry for ruining. See you guys later, dorks.
Catch you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this. Maybe we'll do more things like it in the future.
See you later.
Bye.